Yes, sir.
So you, in couple of minutes, you live stream and you can start this
Yes, sir.
Dhanvantari
Yes,
thing.
sir.
Then I will introduce
Sharp will
everybody.
start by 3 p.m., sir. Okay.
Yes, 2 minutes from
Yes, sir.
now. Then I will
Yes.
introduce
In
first
couple of minutes, live
doctor
stream
and
and you
Pierre
can
and everybody.
yes, sir. Yes. Then I will introduce everybody. Start by 3.
If there is any issue, I have the phone open
Yes,
nearby.
yeah, no problem. And then after Pierre, Angelica will join. Okay. Just give me a minute. I just
Yes,
do
it's
mute and video.
11:29 here, so it's
Yeah,
not an issue.
yeah.
Angelica, ma'am, please kindly accept the request of panelists.
Hello, I accepted the request.
Yes, yes. I will make you co-host now. Welcome for this international conference.
Thank you very much.
Yes, yes.
How are you, Angie? Fine.
I'm very good, thank you. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here.
It's okay. So you let me know when it's live streaming so we can begin, okay? Sundar.
Yes, so good afternoon, all of these participants. Namaste, namaskar. A very warm welcome to one and all. So, welcome. On behalf of Jupiter Ayurved Medical College, I am Dr. S.K. Danga, Principal. It gives me immense pleasure and heartful honor to stand before you today as a inaugurative this grand academic event, the International Conference on Globalization of Ayurveda, which was organized by the Jupiter Ayurved Medical College and Tarini Ayurveda Hospital, Nagpur, in association with ARC, that is Ayurveda Research and Career Academy, esteemed collaborators, and with the all blessing support, many well wishers. Now, I would like to request all for Dhanvantri Stavans. I request for Dhanvantri Stavan.
नमामि धन्वन्तरीरादिदेवं सुरासुरवन्दितपादपद्मं लोके जरारुक् भयमृत्युनाशं दातारमीशं विविधौषधीनां शङ्खं चक्रं जलौकां दधतमृतघटं चारुदोर्भिश्चतुर्भिः सूक्ष्मस्वच्छातिरुद्यं शुकपरिविलसन् मौलिमं भोजनेत्रं कालाम्बोदोज्ज्वलाङ्गं कटितटविलसच्चारु पीताम्बराढ्यं वन्दे धन्वन्तरिं तं निखिलगदवन् प्रौढदावाग्निलीलं प्रौढदावाग्निलीलं प्रौढदावाग्निलीलम्.
Thank you for kind listening. Now, today is not just another date of the calendar, it is a milestone in the history of our college and a moment of collective inspirations. We are gathered here for a vision to take Ayurveda, the eternal science of life, beyond the boundaries and into the heart of the people across the globe. Over the course of these 2 days, yesterday we have conducted online paper presentation for this international conference on globalization of Ayurveda. As this international platform will bring together a renowned scholar, eminent practitioner, visionary research, and passionate delegate from the different corners of the world. Our common purpose for this international conference to deliberate upon the opportunity, challenges, and pathways to global recognition of the Ayurveda, that is the Indian system of medicine, and also to highlight its invaluable role in the addressing modern health concerns, lifestyle disorder, mental disorder, chronic ailments, while staying deeply rooted in timeless classical wisdom in Ayurveda. So to build a network of knowledge, I am audible appropriately. Sorry. Sir, I am audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Sorry. I would like to glad that I would like to introduce my medical college also. Actually, Jupiter Ayurved Medical College and Tarini Ayurved Hospital, Nagpur, founded with the mission of serving the society through the quality education as well as the treatment facility. Our college is enlarged as a center of excellence in Ayurveda with all extra infrastructure facility, a team of experienced faculty, researchers, along with we also serve the society. And a strong commitment to uphold the traditional value by embracing innovation. Our college has been steadily striving for the blame to death, ancient wisdom with the clarity of scientific outlook. Our Tarini Ayurveda Hospital stands as a pillar of service, treating thousands of patients every year, though the authentic Ayurvedic therapy is not just the place of healing, but also a hub of clinical training as well as the patient care and research. Friends, Ayurveda is more than the medicine. It's a way of life, it's a science of life, a philosophy that teaches harmony with the nature, balance within self, and the art of living the holistically. At the time when the world is seeking the natural, safe, sustainable solution for healthcare and the wellness, Ayurveda shines India's greatest gift to the humanity. From preventive healthcare, lifestyle management, and personalized treatment, the mental and spiritual well-being, Ayurveda offers answer for this, and they are not only relevant but truly transformative for this 21st century. Actually, this international conference is therefore a call for action, a reminder that globalization of Ayurveda is not just about its spread across the nation, but about the sharing its wisdom with the compassion, evidence, and responsibility. With such novel thoughts and promising vision, let us begin today's proceeding with great energy, curiosity, and enthusiasm. I welcome all the participants, eminent guest speaker from overseas, join for today's international conference on behalf of Jupiter Ayurved Medical College, Tarini Ayurved Hospital. I extend my heartful welcome to all the distinguished guests, dignitaries, eminent speaker, delegates, participants, and I also thank the Jupiter Ayurved Medical College management for giving me permission to conduct such an international conference globally. So together, let us make this international conference not only the memorable, but also an enriching and transformative experience for all. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Ghanashyam Marda sir, who will giving the introduction of our all guest speaker who joined from overseas for this online conference. So I now request Dr. Ghanashyam Marda sir for his opening remark as well as introduction of our speakers. Over to Dr. Marda sir. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sundar. Thank you, Jupiter Ayurved. Long back in 1999, I have started my global journey 26 years before with the same motto, Globalization of Ayurveda, with the standing Ayurveda as a science. Today, when I look back 26 years after, in 2025, Ayurveda has some stand on two ways to look it. Globally, it is a popular science. It is a public demand science. Many people who want natural medicine, who want natural ways, they are fascinated. They want Ayurveda. They go for Ayurveda treatment, etc. But when it comes to legal option, it really shrink. In world, we have about 204 countries. If I calculate the small countries, in that, not more than 23 countries really accept Ayurveda as a legal science. So legally, education-wise, and in research, there is still a big way to go. After 25 years, we achieved something, but there is still big way to go. In this journey, I met quite a few eminent people who work in this field. And with them, we tried to work out for education, global Ayurveda education, to standardize with some of the medical universities across Europe and US and China. Then we tried to put up some research project like Limoges in France or Eastern Duisburg Medical University in Germany. So to work in research field. Then the public health and products, there are certain things need to be done because many Ayurveda products are in a way restricted or banned due to analytical issues or due to they are in a list of toxic plants or they are in list of medicinal plant and not really nutraceutical plants and so on. So there are a lot of challenges. Though Ayurveda is so much popular, though there is a public demand, but on legal issues, there are a lot of challenges. So some of them we try to discuss today with our eminent speaker. First one is Dr. Pierre Drweski. He's a medical doctor. He's an ENT specialist initially. Then he got his anti-aging specialist in America, USA. Basically, he's from Canada and France. He has various different qualifications. He worked for the Pharmaceutical Commission of EU as well for product suggestions. He has worked in different countries. He has delivered so many international speeches right from across the globe, from USA to China and from India to you can say northern part of Europe. He has been few times in India also, in China also. So he is an extensive intellect researcher. He works presently in Critical Medical Center in Geneva, in Switzerland. We come across to each other because we wrote together a book on anti-aging, Rasayana, the Art of Healthy Aging. So Dr. Pierre Drweski, who has extensive experience in pharmaceutical regulations, in research, and also, as I told you, in academic like anti-aging and besides his practice as an ENT or as a medical doctor. He was fascinated with anti-aging concept in Ayurveda, the Rasayana, and that's how he went on learning Sanskrit, helping and translating from original Charaka chapters, and also he has that devotion also. So this is Dr. Pierre Drweski. Our second speaker today is Angelica Mitrea. She's from Romania, eastern part of Europe. About 2 decades she's studying Ayurveda because I know her when she participated in my first course with the Ministry of Education in medical education in Romania. They had this 5 years program for medical doctors as a CME. That's where she participated long back in 2005, I think, or 2004. And since that time, I was knowing that her interest in Rasayana, especially in Basmas also. So she has spent 10 plus years working on Rasayana. And that's how she got interest in some of the lifestyle disorder related to Rasayana and also, of course, some Ayurveda products. So she ventured a company, Indian Herbals, for the product things. And now she is also starting again the education part. But her more focus since always, it was about Rasayana and some of the lifestyle disorders. So she's our second eminent speaker. Third eminent speaker is Professor Mariana Seabra. She's from Portugal, basically from Porto. Then later she moved to Lisbon. Presently, she's working as a researcher in Lisbon University. Welcome, Mariana. She was a PhD. In fact, she's one of the things what Ayurveda can do with other sciences. She's a mechanical engineer. She is a PhD in engineering, but she started to work in Ayurveda, in Padartha Vijnana, to produce some computational models about gunas. And for such type of reasons, she studied Ayurveda. She spent 5+ years to study Ayurveda. And then we put up a project of computational models of calculating guna, and she specialized in that because even she told me that in the biomechanics where they put these feet or replacement things, there also Ayurveda or Padartha Vijnana principles are useful. Padartha Vijnana is one of the subjects which most of the first year BMS student hates, but that is the subject which is useful with engineering faculty. That's fantastic. Right now, she's doing a research in philosophy department, and she's trying to involve in Ayurveda. Our fourth speaker is Dr. Ujwala Jatin Luthia. She's a postgraduate from Mumbai University. Then she later moved to, I think, right now she's in UK, but she moved to different continents. She has a journal, Light on Ayurveda USA. She has presented Ayurveda in a different platform across the 3 continents. Her major specialty is preventive care and lifestyle disorders, and that's what she will put forward here today. And what is interesting is she has her Gurukul, and that's one of the really interesting subject. Also, she works with Ahimsa Center in Paris. I used to visit that center long back in 2011 to 2013. That is one of the really big training center in France, and she's also she's academician there, along with her Gurukul in UK. So we got really versatile, eminent, and with some experience in different field panelists. The last one, who used to be a co-chair, but also she will speak, Dr. Asavari Ksirsagar Manvikar. She is from USA, Minnesota. She also graduated in Ayurveda in Pune, India. She completed her postgraduate in Kai Chikitsa. Then she moved on to USA. There in Minnesota, she started to work in Minnesota Medical University. Later, she has her own foundation, and right now she's chapter head of APNA, American Association, NAMA, North America Medical Association, and different other things. And there is a CAR, means Center for Ayurveda Research, one of the national body in Ayurveda research in USA. She is also one of the coordinator of CAR. She has participated in many seminars. We had last year a national consortium in US, in Florida, where I was there. And we discussed a lot of issues for Ayurveda, public health and education in USA. So we got across the globe in different continent speakers. And I think we will have a good light on the Ayurveda situation now, and what are the challenges through research by Dr. Pierre and through education and modeling by Mariana, Angelica with particular hormonal issues, and Dr. Ujwala with lifestyle disorder. So I don't spend much time. I welcome and hand over to Dr. Pierre to speak about the global research in Ayurveda with his perspective. Welcome, Dr. Pierre.
Okay, welcome. I'm grateful to share this meeting with you, and I hope that it will just advance the Ayurvedic medicine in the world. So you know that Ayurvedic medicine is holistic, natural, and preventive medicine. And as such, now Ayurvedic principles and products are gaining international interest. But the acceptance of Ayurveda therapy is segmented. As its wellness and cosmetic application are widely embraced, its acceptance as a rigorous medical system face significant barriers. And we will just speak about that and how to handle that. The path to a full global acceptance requires a multi-pronged, evidence-based strategy addressing standardization, scientific validation, regulatory harmonization, intellectual property rights, all while preserving its philosophical integrity. So we will address in this topic its acceptance on 3 different levels and how to improve its acceptance as a rigorous medical system. First, current state of global acceptance. Acceptance is not monolithic, as Dr. Marda had said earlier. There is first the countries like acceptance is wellness and lifestyle. This is Ayurveda's strongest foothold. Concepts like dosha, mindfulness, yoga, meditation, dietary principles, herbal cosmetics, hair oil, skin care are widely popular. Many brands have successfully marketed this aspect. There is a growing acceptance in nutraceutical and supplements. Ayurvedic herbs like ashwagandha, turmeric, holy basil, tulsi, and triphala are now mainstream global supplements. They are sold as botanicals or dietary supplements under frameworks like the US FDA DSHEA Act. But this market is really booming, but it exists a regulatory gray area between food and medicine. And clinical medicine acceptance. This is the real frontier. Acceptance of Ayurveda as a legitimate medical system for treating specific disease is limited to a few countries, around 20, as Dr. Marda said, and some also integrative medical clinics. It faced the highest regulatory hurdles, for example, EU, European Strict Traditional Herbal Medicine Product Directive, THMPD. The key market are, for example, India and Nepal, which are full government and institutional support. There is EU, which a very strict regulation under THMPD, and requires 15 years of documented traditional use within the EU, making market entry difficult for non-European traditional medicine. Then you have the USA, which is a little more maybe easy, regulated as dietary supplement, FDA DHEA, cannot make disease claim, but there is a growing presence in integrative medicine centers with allopathic doctors. There are also some other countries like Middle East country, mainly Gulf country like UAE or Oman, with increasing favorable regulation. For example, UAE establishing a dedicated regulatory framework for traditional medicine. And other regions like Australia, Canada, Japan have their own regulatory pathway, which are most of the time not so easy to bypass. So the core challenge of Ayurveda today, of Ayurvedic medicine in the world, is the barrier to mainstream medical acceptance, lack of standardized scientific evidence, and the problem also is that the randomized control trial RCT model of the the Western medicine is the gold standard, and it struggles to evaluate the Ayurvedic holistic personalized approach, for example, individualized formulation, diet, lifestyle. There is also the reproducibility issues with the variation in raw herb qualities, preparation methods which are not the same in all laboratories. Practitioner skill make it also difficult to reproduce study result consistently, and then we will address this with the education and of Ayurvedic practitioner. There is also the funding gap, which significant underinvestment in large-scale, high-quality clinical research compared to pharmaceutical drugs. And that's also an important issue. There is also the regulatory hurdles. Different philosophies such as Western regulatory law bodies, FDA, EMA, European institution, require proof of efficacy for a specific disease claim. Since Ayurveda often aims to restore balance, not target a single pathogen or pathology, there is a difference of philosophy, which is sometimes difficult to bypass. There is also the safety and toxicity concern. For example, legitimate concern about heavy metals contamination, ash preparation, for example, adulteration, and also, which not very often is speaking of, herb-drugs interaction and the lack of comprehensive databases that regulators trust. There is also the 15 years rule in the EU, which normally mandate for 15 years of use in Europe as an it's an almost insurmountable barrier for Ayurveda, which has millennia of use in Asia and no experience in Europe. Quality control and standardization. First, herb sourcing, variability in phytochemical profile of plants based on geography, season, and processing. That's an issue because then the compositions of certain active ingredients are not the same all through the year or even from some place to another. There is also good manufacturing practice, GMP. Not all manufacturers adhere to this international GMP standard, and which leads to inconsistency and safety issue. Adulteration also is a major problem that undermines global credibility. And there is also intellectual property and biopiracy. Traditional knowledge is often considered a prior art, making it difficult to patent, and which is discourage R&D, research and development, from large pharmaceutical companies. And also concern about exploitation of indigenous knowledge and biological research without fair benefit sharing, which to a certain point has been addressed by the Nagoya Protocol. So, and finally, cultural and linguistic barriers. Sanskrit terms like dosha, agni, hama are not easily translatable translated and can be misunderstood or mystified in the West. And also lack of standardized, accredited training for practitioners outside of India, which could lead to variable qualities of care. So now, what kind of strategy for advanced research and global integration? First, we have to change or reinventing the evidence-based model of advanced clinical trials, move beyond simple RCT, double-blind study, develop and validate new research methodology. All systems, research design that test the entire Ayurvedic intervention via standard cares. So it means that you have to compare a system which understand diets, herbs, lifestyle to a standard care or one drugs. But that's work that must be done. There is also pragmatic trials conducted in real-world clinical settings to assess effectiveness. Integrative or synthetic biology technology, which is relatively new, but these integrative biology technology use of pharmacogenetics to understand how individual genetics influence the response to Ayurvedic treatment, use also metabolomic to objectively measures biomarker of dosha balance, for example, and also new new way, maybe also it's reverse pharmacology, which could be a bedside to bench approach, start with documented clinical safety efficacy, and then work backwards to identify active compounds, mechanisms of actions, and biomarkers. This is more efficient for traditional medicine research. So you start from the clinics and then you go to the science. That could be also an interesting way of global acceptance, to ensure global acceptance of Ayurveda. And Ayurveda must embrace modern science and technology. For example, big data and artificial intelligence, such as mind instant tests and modern clinical data, to identify patterns, predict formulation for modern disease, and establish correlation between traditional diagnosis and biochemical marker. I think that biochemical marker, either biophysical or biochemical, could be very interesting in Ayurvedic advanced research. For example, I will just cite some kind of subject. Research in the field of inflammation, type 2 diabetes, viral infection are among the topics in which Ayurvedic medicine's result could be the most valuable. And also, this research could be not so difficult to implement. Inflammation, almost all diseases related to inflammation, to neurological disease, to cancer, to heart disease. Type 2 diabetes is a very important and increasing in incidence pathology in the world. And viral infection are probably, unfortunately, have some big future. So this, for example, with biochemical and biomedical markers, I probably could have some very interesting results in Ayurvedic medicine. Another field would be anti-aging medicine, with biophysical more than biochemical, biophysical markers like lung function, auditory function, and so on. Maybe we could discover something very interesting in this field. And also not to forget detoxifying properties of Ayurvedic techniques such panchakarma, because you can easily then prove that heavy metals blood levels are decreasing, or even maybe microplastic could be eliminated to a certain point. That's the kind of research that could be done with a good result. Don't forget also nanotechnology, scientifically validated traditional nanometallic preparation, and explore that potential application using modern characterization tool. That also could be very interesting. And another topics of interest, and which has some future even in allopathic medicine, is the microbiome research, because many pathologies are related to microbiome, and we know now that there is some pathology that can be cured by changing the microbiome. So microbiome research investigated the connection between Ayurvedic diet, herbs like turmeric, for example, which has a definite impact on the gut flora, and the gut-brain axis, a highly promising area of synergy. So this is some topics, some research that can be done. It means that there is organization is a must, but also there is the economic the fund that must be given to this field. And finally, don't forget regulatory diplomacy and harmonization. And this is not really the subject of today, but I think that the politics can play a role in that, the foreign affairs minister and so on. Active engagement with WHO, and strengthened collaboration between traditional medicine strategy and benchmark for training and practice, because there is not only research, but standardization of the training must be also addressed. So I will finish with saying that you have to create a robust, quote, robust traditional medicine, unquote, pathway, lobby for amendment to regulation like the EU or and so on, and standardization of code, universal adoption of standards like the WHO International Classification of Disease, which now include a traditional chapter on traditional medicine condition, strengthening the supply chain and IP framework, digital traceability. But this is a little bit outside the subject. It's more related to industrial patent of product. But if Ayurveda wants to be really a global medicine, it has to address, in fact, research for sure, but training and industry. So I will conclude and saying that also another idea in training, it's integrative medicine fellowship. Why not an integrative medicine fellowship that could be a worldwide recognition, not only particular fellowship. Don't forget also the genetic and relation between genetic and Ayurvedic research. So we can conclude that global acceptance of Ayurveda in the wellness sphere is a fact for sure, even in products like herbs, supplements, dietary supplements, and so on, cosmetic, very powerful, but that's not enough to make a real medicine. And Ayurveda has to do a lot of research in the future, and by embracing modern science without sacrificing its core principle. So Ayurveda then can move from the fringe to the forefront of global health care, offering to chronic modern disease that allopathic medicine often struggle to treat effectively. And on top of that, Ayurvedic treatment are much less expensive than allopathic treatment, which now are almost out of control. You have some treatments can cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. I don't think that this path is has some future because of the financial burden. But on the opposite, Ayurvedic medicine could offer a lot if it's organizing itself on a modern and efficient way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pierre. You really put some different lights and good ideas, in fact. The idea of using biophysical and
Yes.
biochemical marker as well as biomedical marker is a very good idea, because until now our research is, as you rightly said, focused more on the efficacy of the formulation rather than establishing the concepts. And as you rightly mentioned, inflammation, viral infection, which has a bright future, unfortunately. But inflammation, there are various inflammatory markers which we can easily test with Ayurvedic method. The biggest problem, and which you pinpoint, is the present research methodology is not really a good way to work for Ayurvedic research, because it is a comprehensive, like lifestyle, diet, and some formulation. In fact, in our science, there is a way of this kind of research methodology described in Charaka, Tadvidya Sambhasha. And we try to establish in that way in our research products. Like, for example, in Limoges, we have established that not just the medicine part, if you remember, you were there. We tried to put a different protocol with lifestyle also inside, and some exercise regimen for lumbago. So, and people accept it. If we are in a good way, really, that Anne-Laure Fouché, the research officer in Limoges, accepted our way of presenting the paper. So it required the new strategy of research methodology as well. That was a real good point, along with biomarkers and biochemical and biophysical
Yeah,
markers.
biophysical also,
Yes.
mostly in anti-aging.
Yes. So that's fantastic. And that's the way where we are dominant. Like lifestyle disorders like diabetes type 2 or anti-aging, this inflammation, we are really dominant. And in COVID, I remember you have used a lot of Ayurvedic principle because you're working in that critical medical thing. And we worked together with in COVID. And we saw that in viral infection, things like Tulsi and these immunomodulators. We
Yes.
work with not just immunity booster, immunomodulators. So this is really a good idea, in fact, to go on this way.
And since that there is a change of pattern even in allopathic medicine, for example, in diabetic therapy or cardiac therapy, there now includes a lifestyle because the drugs is not the alpha and omega of everything. It depends also on the way that the people are following their diets and their lifestyle on top of medical drugs. So I think that now it's maybe the time to enter all these fields and to improve the research in Ayurvedic medicine.
Yes, I remember that in 2016, in fact, the UK NHS bid for lifestyle modification in diabetes. So they
Yes,
come up with a project. And
because
also,
no drugs or insulin can work if you lifestyle is a mess. Huh?
so these type of research projects we should really undertake rather than just proving the efficacy of one formulation, in fact.
Yes, I think so. And
Yeah.
biomarkers are not very expensive to measure, so that's it could be also interesting because in health anyway, in health I will say business, in the future financial burden will be very important. I think that allopathic medicine is in a dead end because of that.
Yes, we can see different countries are cutting the health budget, so you are correct.
Yeah, so with if they're cutting, there will be no no drugs, and then the only solution is the holistic medicine that is very old from thousands of years.
Yep. So thank you very much for
Okay,
putting
pleasure
the
for me,
stress,
and have a nice meeting, nice Congress. Okay,
putting
bye-bye.
stress on the need of today, what we have to do in education and research. So thank you, Dr. P.
Yes,
I know you are busy,
education
so
also.
I don't take your time. Thank you very much. Merci
Okay,
beaucoup for
bye-bye.
joining us. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
take
Dr.
care.
P, for your nice lecture on advancing research in global acceptance for Ayurveda. So thank you very much, sir, on behalf of our college, Jupiter Ayurved Medical College, Nagpur, India. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Just to clarify one thing, when you say integration, it's like interpretation integration. It's not like allopathic diagnosis and Ayurvedic medicine. Just to clarify, because our people, when you use word integration, they think it's like integration of allopathy and Ayurveda. It's not like that. It's an interpretation, understanding and using. So it's not really adulteration. It's understanding both the principles and without compromising the principle, using technology, go ahead with the research. That you mean, no? By integration, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
So you can leave whenever you want. Okay.
Okay, because I have some
Yes,
family.
I know.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Yes.
You can leave the meeting. So our next speaker, from a young one, the youngest one, in fact, you can say, Angelica from Romania. So I already introduced about her. and her fascination towards Rasayana. So I welcome and invite Angie to present her topic. As Pierre has finished a bit earlier, so you might have a privilege to extend a bit about 4-5 minutes. Thank you, and you can start.
Yes.
Thank you very
On
much,
behalf of,
Dr.
yes,
Marda.
on behalf of Jupiter
Ladies
Ayurved
and
Medical
gentlemen,
College, I would like to welcome Angelica.
thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to say that I'm very honored and grateful for being here and being able to share my experience in Ayurveda. I also am very grateful to Dr. Marda, who is my teacher, my mentor, and my inspiration in Ayurveda. Because in Romania, the access to Ayurveda is not as it should be. So I'm very grateful for this. My presentation is about the estrogen dominance as a lifestyle disorder. I will also share my screen because I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation. So why is the estrogen dominance lifestyle disorder? And most important, what is the estrogen dominance? Well, when approaching to perimenopause, the woman's hormonal balance start to incline towards more estrogen and less progesterone. The progesterone production starts to decrease to lowers, and due to this the estrogen becomes dominant as the progesterone cannot counterbalance the effects of the destructive effects of estrogen in excess. So the consequences are ovarian cysts, fibroids, endometriosis, and PMS. So for this, the allopathic medicine has in majority of cases, the solution to undergo hysterectomy to the patients. So I have developed a method of intervention that combines principles from Ayurveda, functional medicine, and psychology. And I must say that it relies on Ayurveda, as 75% of this method is inspired from Ayurveda. Why the estrogen dominance is a lifestyle disorder, it was not in the past as it is now, because there are many factors that are contributing to this estrogen dominance. The modern diet, which includes a lot of processed food, refined sugar, fat, trans fats that are increasing the inflammation and disrupts the hormonal metabolism. Also, the animal products may contain a lot of residual hormones, meaning the growth hormones, which are mainly based on estrogen hormones that are passing into the human body, and then it contributes to this estrogen dominance. Also, the low fiber intake, because in the intestine there how to say, in the intestines, the stool is containing estrogen who is about to be eliminated. Well, when the patient is consuming less fibers, then there is the reduced elimination of estrogen through bile and stool, and this way the used estrogen is going into the enterohepatic circulation, meaning all the estrogen is recirculated in the organism. Also, there is an overload of liver and intestines, which is leading to a poor detoxification. There are three main phases of the detoxification of the estrogen. The first two phases are taking place in the liver, and the last third phase is taking place in the intestines. Well, with this overload of intestines and liver, there is a poor detoxification, and this way this leads to an estrogen dominance. Then the sedentary life, which is more and more seen in the present days. The lack of physical activity is seen in slower liver metabolism. Of course, a lower metabolism appears in other disorders, as in hypothyroidism or Hashimoto, but also it is caused by this sedentary lifestyle, and this can lead to a very poor methylation. It means that the estrogen byproducts are not well conjugated in order to be able to be eliminated from the organism. Also, the abdominal fat accumulation, the adipose tissue produces additional estrogen through the aromatase, and this way the excess of estrogen is increasing in the body. Also, in the modern lifestyle means an increased exposure to xenoestrogens. These are particles which are entering in the human body. They are mimicking the estrogen and they are worsening the imbalance. And I have to mention here the bisphenol A, the phthalates, pesticides, detergents, cosmetics, perfumes, creams. All of these are endocrine disruptors. This means that in our days we are swimming in an ocean of estrogen because we are we have estrogens that surrounds us in every step. Also, another cause is the chronic stress. This because the high cortisol consumes progesterone precursors, mainly the pregnenolone. Also, the high cortisol is blocking the receptors of progesterone, and this means that the progesterone cannot enter into the cells and tissues, and from there it cannot counterbalance the estrogen excess effects. Also, the impaired sleep is aggravating the imbalance, which is a very modern problem. Also, the digestive disorders, which are seen increasingly in today's day-to-day life. The chronic constipation, which leads to poor estrogen elimination. Also, the gut dysbiosis, the estrobolome imbalance. The estrobolome is a set of bacteria that is metabolizing the excess estrogen in the intestines. When the patient is having this estrobolome imbalance, then finally it will lead to an estrogen dominance. And also the beta glucuronidase, which is an enzyme that is unpacking the estrogen, which is prepared for elimination. And this way, this estrogen is reintroduced in the circulation. Also, the excess body weight, I have mentioned it before, but it's a very, very important factor because the adipose tissue produces estrogen via aromatization, and overweight and obesity are major contributors to estrogen dominance. So I have created this method, which has a very, very important educational part. Because here in Romania, as Dr. Pierre and Dr. Marda said previously, the Ayurveda is not officially recognized. So we do not have clinics where to be able to submit patients and undergo the Ayurvedic procedures. So I have opted for a strong educational component where the woman can learn about their condition, their hormonal disbalance, so that they are able to obtain very good results. And I will present in the end of this presentation two case studies that were able to avoid hysterectomy, because they have resolved the hormonal disbalance. So the first step of this method, the method is actually a 6 months program, and during this program, the women are learning the mechanism behind each recommendation. I have noticed that by understanding this mechanism, the patients are more are responding more well to all the therapies and the remedies that are receiving. So the first step of this method. It's a method in 8 steps. The first step is for the women to learn about their constitution, their individual constitution, their prakriti, and their digestive fire, agni, and all the other steps that are following are based on these two main factors, to their prakriti and their agni. I have clinically observed that the most patients with estrogen dominance are having vishama agni, or meaning an irregulated fire, digestive fire, or a manda agni, a slow digestive fire. The step 2 is consisting in the detoxification therapies. As I already mentioned, there are 3 phases that are leading to the estrogen detoxification in the body. The first 2 phases are taking place in the liver, and the third phase is in the gut, in the intestines. When these phases are having blockages, then the estrogen is not very well eliminated, so it contributes to the growth of the fibromas, cysts, and the other disorders that are appearing. The best therapy that I would have used here is Virechana, a part of Panchakarma therapy, but because here we cannot apply Virechana, because we cannot have the patient under observance 24 hours a day, then I have adapted another therapy, a more simple one, which is Vata Anulomana, which consists in Sadhya Snehana, Swedana, Avagaha Svedana. Also, there is Mridu Virechana, and then Samsarjana Krama, in order for the patient to recover to the usual diet. The patients are instructed and educated to do this at home by their own means, and the effects can be seen immediately. Like the first symptoms, the first effects are being seen just few days after undergoing this simple procedure. Their symptom decrease, meaning the menstruation is starting to regulate the discomfort and pain which appears in the pelvic area decreases significantly, and also there is an increase in the quality of life of the patient. The third step is the dietary regulation. It is very important that the diet to be adapted to the acne type of the patient, because this way it will not overload the liver and all the digestive tract, and the liver will have more space and more capacity to detoxify the estrogen. This way we can also support the metabolism and hormonal balance. So the patients are instructed to create themselves, and also to respect this dietary plan that they are creating for themselves, first for 1 week, and then they will implement it as a day-to-day diet. The next step is consisting in administering of natural products. These natural products are very personalized for each patient. One of the main problems that the patients are facing is anemia due to their very heavy menstruations, and there is a very large blood loss. This is why I was using like Ayurvedic principle for finding some remedies which are also accessible here in Romania. So for this, for anemia, I have used this seawater, which is extracted from 200 meters depth, and it is very similar with Rasa Dhatu and also with Rakta Dhatu. This seawater is similar with Rasa Dhatu because it is a nutritive fluid rich in minerals and elements that feeds all the tissues, and also it's similar with Rakta Dhatu because it has the salty taste, lavana rasa, and this salty taste has tejas and apas components, the same as rakta dhatu, and I have seen that the results in anemias are much better than when the patient is taking iron, simple iron. The effects are not the same, so they respond much better to this seawater. Then also the fruits which are mentioned in Ayurvedic books for treating anemia and for nourishing Rakta Dhatu, like raisin, figs, dates, and pomegranate. Also for fibroids and cysts, I am recommending the patients to take Kanchanar Gugul. I also recommend them to apply local therapies like Yoni Pichu with Nimba oil, abdominal massage with Aranda tail, which is decreasing kapha and also calming vata dosha. The next step is the using of natural body care products. As I previously said, the cosmetic products that are used day to day contains a lot of xenoestrogen and substances that are disbalancing this estrogen, which are increasing the estrogen dominance. So I insist very much on respecting the principle, the Ayurveda principle, that say to apply on the skin only products that can be eaten. This way, the patients are instructed to use amla, methi, rita, shikakai for washing their hair. For example, to replace the shower gel with abhyanga, with udvartan or udgarshan, and also I instruct them how to make their own care products, their own toothpaste, deodorant, their oils, creams to apply on the skin so that they don't have an intake of xenoestrogens from the body care products. Also, the balancing cortisol is very, very important because high cortisols means a reduced progesterone, and this is happening in two ways, meaning when the cortisol is high, it is stealing the pregnenolone. The pregnenolone is the fuel that helps producing progesterone. And also when the cortisol is high, it is blocking the progesterone receptors. So the progesterone cannot enter in the cells and tissues in order to counterbalance the effects of high progesterone. So here I'm using for lowering for lowering the cortisol, I am using Media Rasayana herbs which do not contain phytoestrogens like Vacha, Tagara, Brahmi, Jyotismati, and I avoid Media Rasayana herbs which are rich in isoflavones, meaning high phytoestrogens, like the licorice. The licorice is a very good media rasayana, but is not suited well for the women who have estrogen dominance. For this step, I also use Nasya therapy, either Pratimarsha therapy with ghee or coconut oil, either Marsha Nasya with Vacha decoction, and also guided meditation. And the next step is the emotional regulation, which is very important. My main education is in psychotherapy. I am a psychotherapist, so this comes the psychology part of the program. The patients are educated to recognize and process their emotions because there are many studies that proves that the disorders are a somatization of an emotional conflict. So this way, by being taught how to recognize and process their emotions, then the healing process go much smoothly. Also, they are educated about how to cultivate a healthy relational patterns, because Also, the studies proved that when there is a relational conflict, then it somatizes mainly in the reproductive system. The last step of the program is introducing the progesteronic herbs. In the allopathy and functional medicine, they are recommending synthetic progesterone, but the results of the synthetic progesterone is not very well seen because it has a very inflammatory component. So another try of the functional medicine was to use bioidentical progesterone, which is much better absorbed in the body. The bioidentical progesterone means to take the herb and to process it in laboratory and then to apply it on the patient. And the studies usually says that if the product is not processed in laboratory, meaning it's not micronized, then it cannot have the same effects on the woman's health. Well, by using this program, I could prove the contrary, because when the body is very well prepared for receiving the natural remedies, then these remedies have a very good effect. And this is also from what Ayurveda states, that when the body is very well detoxified, then the natural remedies have a much bigger impact, which can be seen after following this program. So I have here also some two case studies. In one case study, there was a patient. I also have here their lab tests, but unfortunately they are in Romanian language, so I will have to tell you what they are about. There is a patient who has fibroid uterus with metrorrhagia, also menorrhagia, left ovarian cysts. Also, she had undergone curettage, and after the curettage, the doctor still recommended her to undergo hysterectomy. Because the situation was not looking very good, and also her hemoglobin at entry was 10.4. After intervening with these steps that I have previously presented, the patient reported the uterus and ovaries within normal limits. I have here the ultrasound result, which is showing that all her genital area is within normal limits, and also her hemoglobin levels increased to 11.8. This is a level that the patient never had in her entire life, and which she achieved through this Ayurvedic protocol. And also second case study, another patient with a fibroid uterus with submucosal development and also the menorrhagia. The patient was directly recommended hysterectomy. She had a scheduled date, and also the clear recommendation for what a pre-operative investigation to be completed. These are the her results. Also, she was here. It is mentioned the dimension of the fibroid, and the outcome after the 6 months of implementing this program was that her fibroid reduced with 25%, and the menstruation which was 11 days and very, very abundant every month, now subsided to 5 days with a normal flow, meaning that she didn't need hysterectomy anymore. So these are the ultrasound results after completing the program, at the end of the program. So I would like to conclude by saying that a very sustained Ayurvedic protocol, which is well implemented, can empower women and can sustain health changes, and also can help women not to undergo hysterectomy anymore.
Thank you, Angelica, for the nice presentation. Thank you again. What was interesting is to empower the patient by simple modifications which they can do, because I have seen these difficulties in many continent outside India, because we in SARC country, it's more easy to implement Ayurveda because it's recognized, it's legal science, etc. In Chinese continent, well, still they have the natural medicine, but when it go to Western world, it's more and more difficult to implement Ayurveda as it is. So
Yes.
this was a good way out, in fact, to making them understand. And that's what is a need today, because we always, means I myself uh, always try to discuss with the government authorities to introduce Ayurveda education in the higher secondary education system, like when they are 10-year-old or 11 years, so they can understand the principles. So this is a good way actually to making them aware of Ayurvedic philosophy terms through their way of living of life, and not making much difficult choices, though you use quite a few medicines, what we call medicine, but it is available, so you use it. So very good. We really appreciate that efforts of you. Carry on that efforts. Very good.
Thank you very much. And yes, it's very important to be implemented from a lower age, because for the women who are in perimenopause, they are in their 40s, it's much more difficult to implement all these changes. But when the children, the teenagers are learning about all these principles, as it was for me, because I came in contact with Ayurveda when I was a teenager, and I was for me it was very easy to implement all these changes. But I can see the difficulties that the patients are having into implementing this, and this is why my program is extending on 6 months, so that I can be supporting them in every step of this implementation.
Yeah, it's correct, because it's more easy when there is nothing written. And it's very difficult to make your place when it's already something written. So when you are teenager, when you are young, you are not exposed to different medical philosophies, pathies, and misinformations. It's more easy to tell this. And if it goes to the family level, then Ayurveda is really taking root, because it's a family medicine. So thank you very much. I know that I know you since you were teenage when you joined, so keep it up. Thank you again for joining. You can
Thank you.
continue to join.
Yes, thank you, Angelica, for your nice sessions on estrogen dominance as a lifestyle disorder. You have given the Ayurvedic perspective. So
Thank
if any participant wanted to ask the questions, they may raise their hand so that Angelica will answer that live. If any participant, or sometimes you may also put in the question answer chat box. Yeah, someone, Dr. Meenakshi.
Dr. Sundar, just to interrupt, we cannot take many questions because
Yes, sir.
I have
We will
already
hardly take
instructed
1 to
others
2
to join
questions.
early.
Yes, sir.
So,
Actually, we have some time, 5-10 minutes, as Angelica has to finish by 3:55. No, I think 4:35. So,
no, we can take the questions, but I
yes,
already told next speaker, Mariana and Ujwala, to join
yes,
10
yes.
minutes
Okay,
early.
okay. Yeah. After the session of Mariana, we will take the answer, question answer sessions. So, meanwhile, thank you, Angelica, for your very nice sessions, and
you
hope
very much.
we will in future
No,
also collaboration. Yes.
you can take that one question
Yes.
raised.
Yeah, and Dr. Meenakshi is asking, can we have any opportunity to work with her?
Yes, of course, you can write me on email, and we can continue the conversation there. I will write my email I will type the answer in the chat,
Okay.
my email.
We will provide the mail to our participants. Thank you. Yes,
Thank
Dr. Marda sir, you can take the session of now. Next speaker, Mariana.
Yes. So our next speaker is Mariana. I forced because she's a mother too. She's a professor plus she's a mother too. So she has the time from the babysitting to join with us. So welcome, Mariana, Professor Mariana Seabra. As I already told you, initially she was not from Ayurveda, but she's more technical branch engineering. She got interest with the basic principles, and she went on with basic principle and reached to a very good research project of computing the Padarth Vijnana, the Guna. She will have her subject models in science and models in Ayurveda. What she has done one in that, and along with that, she will put some light on the education scenario. So welcome, Mariana. You, as you know, you may have few minutes more if you want to explore, because we are ahead of schedule. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Marda. Good
I'd
morning.
like to also welcome Dr. Mariana on behalf of Jupiter Arranged Medical College, and I'm Dr. S.K. Danga, Principal. So I welcome in this session for your models in science and models in Ayurveda. Welcome.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to greet the organization and thank the invitation, and also to give a very special thank to Dr. Marda, who has been my teacher, guide, and also co-work and co-author in this project. That I hope it will help in prompting the research in Ayurveda. So as Dr. Marda was saying, the title of my talk is Models in Science and Models in Ayurveda, which I started sharing, and I should be able to put this here. All right. This talk will have mainly two parts. Firstly, I'll be discussing scientific modeling in general, and then I will talk about how my favorite view on scientific models can be applied to Ayurveda, and then I'll show some preliminary results I achieved in a project with Dr. Marden, and lastly, I will talk about the importance of modeling to advance scientific research and its importance as well in educational projects. There are many views on what science should be. It's not even in the Western world, there's not a single view about what is science, what science should be about. Although there's a considerable consensus that modern science mostly revolves around models. That means that scientists spend a lot of time developing models, testing, comparing, interpreting, discussing, revising the implications of models. Models are used to make predictions, but also to derive understanding about the world. In this way, having a view on scientific modeling, it's very adequate to understand Ayurveda in a global way, as Ayurveda also presents us various models of the world. And more than that, Ayurveda is especially concerned about providing correct diagnosis and adequate treatment. So the main goal of Ayurveda is to be an applied science, a science that people can use to improve their lives. And in that way, this practical goal gains a special relevance. So an important building block to have good predictions is precisely to have adequate models, understand how models work. And in this way, predictions can improve with as we refine our models. As a side goal, I hope this talk also gives some new vision to the students about the importance of Padartha Vijnana and maybe lead some of them to revise what they've been studying and how they can improve their practices by having a deeper look at this content. So having said this, it's important to understand that a model is a representation of the world, which means that every model will have its advantages and drawbacks. Although traditionally Ayurveda it is seen as eternal science, we can also look from it as within the modeling point of view. With this, I mean that independently of your belief, you can take a model perspective when it comes to the application. And taking this model perspective will be also helpful in combining and comparing models that arise from the different sciences. So as we see here, we have our real cat, and then we can have different models of cats. Even within Ayurveda, we can obtain different models when, for instance, we take a Samkhya perspective or a Vaisheshika perspective. So also, we can have different models even within allopathic medicine, and we can combine also these models by models obtained through biophysics, for instance. In general, when we have a theory, it is considered that within a theory, we can extract various models because models are not only the theory. Models are the theory plus something else. And even in physics, we can have, for instance, quantum mechanics. But if we want to build a laser, we need to add much more constrictions to the theory, and we need to add a lot of auxiliary hypotheses in order to, from that theory, to have the final product, which is a laser. And the same thing can happen in the medical sciences. We can have underlying theories, but then we need some auxiliary hypotheses until we can make our prediction and we can make the application of that model. In this way, there are various ways in which we can define models and understand the way they work. My favorite one has been developed by a philosopher of science, Humphreys, and this type of framework was primarily developed to address computational science, which is the template model framework. Although it has been developed for computational science, this is applicable to other sciences in which we can distinguish between the application level and a higher abstraction level, where we have the main principles before we connected them to specific data. And don't worry, because I will show examples to make this a little bit more clear. So the idea behind the template model framework, in a short sentence, can be said the same equations have the same solutions, meaning that when we have a particular subject matter and we extract the higher level logic between it, it is prone to mathematization, and I can extract solutions from it. And then I do the reverse. I look at the solution and I go through the way back until I have the interpretation within the particular subject, where I use this higher level reasoning layer. So at the end, what means is that I have a layer that retains a part of the model which is flexible and independent from the particular subject where I'm applying it. And nowadays, this can be illustrated easily, for instance, with AI technologies, where we have a frame, for instance, a neural network that is a bare frame. Let's say it's just a mathematical structure. And then when I add the data from a particular subject matter, then I get a particular model for a certain solution. That is, I can use the exactly same network, and I can add data from biology, or I can add data from sales and marketing, and then I get a particular solution. The interesting thing about this template model framework is that we can also find these two layers from template and model within the different models we can find in the classical literature of Ayurveda, which I will show a few slides later. So basically, just a model has several components. That is, it has this abstraction layer, the template. Then I need to give it specific data. It can be medical data. It can be data on substance, constitution, properties, etc. Every model has also some construction assumptions. These construction assumptions are the limits within we can apply the model. Of course, it needs an interpretation and also a justification for the application of the model. And finally, usually there is an output representation, which can be graphs, tables of numbers, or also pictures, videos, ways of visualizing and combining with results from experimentation, etc. And models also feature a correction set. And this correction set is an anticipation of how scientists can improve the model. So I will give now a quick example with populational dynamics, and then we will see how this can transcribe to Ayurveda. So an easy way to understand templates and models is to look at the population dynamics example. Here very quickly, imagine I want to analyze a population of rabbits and foxes. Of course, rabbits and foxes reproduce at a certain rate, but then as foxes feed on rabbits, these two populations will be interacted, meaning that after a certain number of foxes, the population of rabbits will significantly decrease. So a simple way to model this population change between foxes and rabbits is to use these two equations here called log de Volterra. The mathematics is not very important. For now, the only important thing is to notice that these two equations can be used to model very different phenomena in other sciences. They are not exclusive for population dynamics, but I can, together with this bare mathematical framework, I can add the interpretive layer about the population dynamics. So X will be the number of rabbits, while Y will be the number of foxes. But I can use the same equations, for instance, to do some very simple climate modeling. We can also use it to do very simple analysis of two competing products on the market, etc. But the important thing is that I have some bare mathematical framework and I can connect it with the specific interpretation. However, in my correction set, when I apply this model, let's say the template is the differential calculus, I have data about the population, but I can already anticipate that there are more animals in the ecosystem, so I may need to improve this model by using, for instance, a different template and a more complex one. So when I have a lot of intervenience in an ecosystem, I can shift, for instance, for a neural network, where the specific data will be the population numbers of all the animals. My construction assumptions will now change a bit. Before, I will assume that only rabbits and foxes interact. And now in this new model, I will assume that I have non-linear relations between the different species which interact in the same ecosystem. And this non-linear interaction gives me the justification to apply this particular template to this particular problem. So what is important to retain from here is that we have an abstraction layer that is independent of the specific science where I'm going to apply it. But to apply it, I need to have a justification. I need to be aware of the construction assumptions, and then I have to provide specific data. The advantage of having this separate framework about models is that in one way, it facilitates knowledge transfer between models obtained through different sciences. For instance, if I want to compare results obtained through allopathic medicine of Ayurveda, if I can discriminate the components, they become easier to compare between each other. Another advantage is, as we have specified construction assumptions, it becomes easier to see if, for instance, a model is failing because I am failing to apply it to the correct situation. And and also the presence of a correction set help us to see where our model is short and what parts of the models I'm not able to explain, and how can I anticipate to improve my explanation. And all this talk at the end comes to important point, which is oh, I'm sorry. I will come back to it. I'm really sorry. So
It's okay. It's a further consideration. I know you are a bit stressed with the babies. Go on.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for this Sunday morning baby. But it will come at the end. Don't worry. Sorry. I moved this back. Oh, well. So coming back, the most important thing is we have a level of abstraction and a level where we fill up with an interpretation. The second important point about models is the realism, anti-realism debate. What this means, realism and anti-realism. This has to do what we think about the goal of scientific theories, and also what we think about the entities which figure in our scientific theories. So there are two main forms of realism. We can be realist about theories or realist about entities. Realism about theories, in short, says that scientific theories aim at truth, and sometimes they get close to it. So if we are anti-realism, we acknowledge that scientific theories not always aim at truth. They sometimes aim at just making good predictions or allowing us to derive good explanations. And now I remember the point I was going to talk about previously. I'm sorry for missing it. So the goal of modelings and adopting clear bullet point categories about models is that they allow us to provide very clarified explanations. And sometimes one of the drawbacks, not only in Ayurveda, but in the medical science in general, is the lack of explanatory chains. Because we have the clinical trial based only on statistics, We see the results, we see that they are statistically relevant, but often we miss the explanatory chain that will tell us why the particular treatment is giving results. We know it's giving results, but it's often hard to find this explanatory chain. When we look closer at a modeling strategy, this modeling strategy will provide us this explanatory chain. And actually, in my point of view, this is a strength, a very important strength of Ayurveda, because the way in which Ayurveda establishes its variables and relations between variables until we obtain a prediction from correct diagnosis to treatment, we can construct an explanatory chain that goes from constituents of the world and the products we are going to use, the condition of the patient, the mixing of the two, and the final result. So Ayurveda allows us to provide this explanatory chain through its models. And to apply these models and to make them acceptable for the scientific community, it's important to just touch a little bit this realism-anti-realism debate, in the sense that models provided by Ayurveda can be used in an anti-realist reading, meaning that when we give up about realism, about theories, that means that we can still be concerned with the truth, but we also acknowledge that we have other goals that a scientific theory can provide us beyond truth, that is, predictions and explanations. Then we have a second layer, which is realism about entities. Realism about entities says that objects mentioned in scientific theories should really exist. Realism about entities nowadays has become largely unpopular because even in the physical sciences, scientists are very much aware that especially when we use phenomenological laws, that is, laws that go above a certain fundamental level of nature, they imply variables that we know they do not exist, but they are helpful in making the predictions and generating explanations. For instance, in material science, we often use we don't make predictions directly from the atoms that constitute a particular material. We extract properties like rigidity, ductility, all set of properties that are in a layer above and allow us to make the predictions. So one perspective that we can take in Ayurvedic modeling is that all the variables that are mentioned, they independently of their existence or not. Okay, so here I don't want to discuss the existence or not. They can be used to provide explanatory routes, make good predictions, and taking this view, we can also find a way to translate the Ayurvedic variables into the variables used in other sciences. So one important aspect about claiming the scientific status in Ayurveda is precisely by comparing this phenomenological layer where we have modeling and when we are free to use an anti-realistic reading of the variables in order to make predictions. The scientific status of Ayurveda has been questioned in, for instance, this paper I mentioned here by Engler. And in one of the goals of my research has been precisely to refute what has been stated by Engler. And in particular, I found out that his view on modern science is very confined to what he calls a physicalist and realist view. So when we take a modeling perspective, we can see that even classical Ayurveda is very close to the modeling that we do today in sciences that developed more recently. And in particular, moving now to our specific Ayurvedic modeling, I will read this citation by Professor Mishra in his book Padartha Vijnana that says, Ayurveda has made a beautiful synthesis of the Astika as well as the Nastika darshanas and different philosophies, and have also played a very important role in the development of the science of medicine. I think this quote reflects a little bit all the talk that I have been doing so far, is that these philosophies, independently of which one developed first or after, we see that in the classical text that we have these different philosophical views that come together and present us this comprehensive corpus of knowledge, which is Ayurveda. So my proposal in specifically combining Ayurveda with the modern research standards is to take these philosophies as templates, meaning this higher level abstract layer that we combine to the specific data, and we arrive to model construction in Ayurveda. And specifically, the work I've been doing with Dr. Martin concerns mostly Vaisheshika philosophy, so we use Vaisheshika as this template, which will allow us to draw predictions. The first phase of modeling we develop is a simple algebraic modeling, but as a current research direction, this model can be extended by combining it with other templates, for instance, clustering techniques, which figure in many AI models. So for our simple algebraic model, we realized that we have an explanatory route for causation in Ayurveda, stemming from Vaisheshika or Nyaya Vaisheshika, but in this particular case, I'm more concerned with the Vaisheshika part, where elements through their qualities perform actions. So the idea here has been to isolate the relations between the qualities for each action. What I mean by this, qualities in Ayurveda, I notice, they play a very similar role of that we can find, for instance, in the thermodynamics of state variables. So in thermodynamics, we see that processes are controlled by temperature, pressure, etc. We have this set of variables that they can be higher or lower, and they characterize the state of the system, and we can track the evolution of the system using this set of variables, which means that if I want to draw predictions with thermodynamics, like thermodynamic for machines, here I'm not even going down to the level of statistic mechanics. So thermodynamics used in engineering, normal. I just need to find mathematical relations between these variables to make my predictions. So the idea here was to take the variables of the elements, mostly through their qualities, and connect it to their actions, and see if we could find some mathematical relations that will allow us predictions. And what we realized is, in fact, the variables provided by Vaisheshika, they are highly prone to mathematization. And as they are prone to mathematization, we can use the simple algebraic models to extract some predictions. And for instance, we can predict some special effects that come mentioned in the text, but also we can expand this to more complex modeling, which is the goal for the future. So basically, this first part of the project, we have elements, qualities, and effects, so Dravya Guna Karma, but within this general framework, we could detect some more variations within this framework. What meaning that, for instance, we have some effects that can be obtained through one quality uniquely, but we have some effects that can be obtained through multiple qualities. In the same way, we have qualities that just belong to one constituent, but we have qualities that come in various constituents. So the simple root also unfolds in these various paths that are illustrated in this slide. Once we detail these paths, we can write them in equation form. So we have just one effect, one quality, one element. Type 2 is one effect, one quality, two elements. Then type 3 goes on, and we have type 4 and type 5. So we find out we have like these 5 main paths. With these 5 main paths, we transcribe it to an algorithm. Whereas input, we could write the qualities of a certain substance, and we can obtain as output the percentage of each one of the elements. And we can also find out as output some hidden qualities that a certain substance may have, which means that are qualities that are not mentioned in the text because they are not the main ones. And but these hidden qualities, when we mix two substances, for instance, they manifest. And this helps to explain many special effects that come after also mentioned in the classical text, and also special effects then we found out when we have complex medicines formed by different substances. So this is in short the results of the first attempt of mathematization as a future work, and which is now under development. This was algebraic model where we find these 5 main maps of action. But if instead of it, we construct a larger database and we apply clustering techniques, we can extract more refined paths and improve these results. So as a future work, we intend to improve these models and see if we can improve the line of prediction within Ayurveda, understood in a way which is closer to the Western science. So meaning that a very good practitioner of Ayurveda, following its traditional path, already has all this scheme imbibed. He or she doesn't need to go within this abstraction layer. But this abstraction layer, besides improving the understanding in general, helps us to draw explanation chains which are closer to the sciences with which Ayurveda may want to establish a dialogue. What are the consequences in a global scientific world and also as an educational project? So here the proposal is to create a confluence project. A confluence project, why confluence? Because in confluence, each field we want to connect keeps intact, and the goal is precisely to make bridges between these two intact fields. So the global acceptance of Ayurveda has, as already Pierre mentioned, one of the steps is really to create these bridges between the different approaches to science. And modeling as a subset of theories, as a more flexible unit, creating models as a way of drawing explanations can help to shorten this gap with the different sciences that want to dialogue. And also, it, in terms of educational, presenting these models helps people that grew on and were educated in a framework more mathematized and closer to Western sciences to be open to also understand Ayurveda. So in this Confluence project, we acknowledge that the goal of medical sciences in general is to provide correct diagnosis and adequate treatment. And for this, we want good predictions. We also want high quality standards, both in science and education. So by fine-graining models, providing its components, we can achieve a framework that can be understood globally, both as native Ayurvedic practitioners and also Ayurvedic practitioners throughout the world. For this Confluence project, it's important to have in mind the importance of the classical texts as the textual data and their study, the clinical practice, and to these two that are mentioned in the text, we add experimentation to clinical trials, but also other approaches, some of which Dr. Pierre mentioned. Also, by seeing Angelica's presentation, there are also more other educational approaches that can be taken towards this experimentation. And I would like to add the modeling piece to this trio. So the modeling comes as a bit an aggregating factor between the textual data, the practice, and the experimentation through the construction of these explanatory chains. So I thank you for your attention, and I just leave you with the slide with some conclusions.
This came in our mind because when we were studying, there were two things. One is there is the Ruksha Guna of Teja or Pitta, and also Ruksha by Vayu. So which one is Vayu Ruksha and which one is Teja Ruksha? That's how we began. Because this explanatory model is required to understand which Ruksha comes from Teja and which Ruksha comes from Vayu. And that's how we began, if you remember well. And also same thing with dry ginger and fresh ginger, why they are exactly opposite from the same. So thank you very much for explaining all these models, though it's a bit heavy because it's, but this is what answers few of the questions the people raised before. That can we do our own research methodology or not? Yes, and this is a part of that. Using models, understanding and interpreting Ayurveda, not integrating, not adulteration, understanding, interpreting Ayurveda, and using modern science, modern techniques, computational matter, even AI to prove our point. This is how we work, not integration way, like adulteration we work. So this was an effort to establish another way of research methodology, modeling techniques to use and prove Ayurveda. And we will continue this, Mariana, anyway. I know you are exhausted, but still thank you for joining us. To be a new mother is a Herculean task with Professor Ship. So I understand, and don't worry, sometimes it happens. You just get delinked.
Thank you, and I apologize for.
So thank you very much for joining us with all these things, and we'll continue this work to establish a model-based research methodology for Ayurveda. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Thank you, Mariana, for your very nice and innovative lecture, Models in Science and Models in Ayurveda. Hope our participant and expert will think about that and future collaboration for the research. I really express great thanks on behalf of my college, Jupiter Ayurvedic Medical College, for being here for wonderful sessions. Yes, sir. Now I request Dr. Marda sir to continue further.
Thank you.
So here we welcome now Dr. Ujwala, our colleague from Mumbai, Maharashtra. We met, I think, once before. And I really like the Gurukul idea and the way you present people with the preventive and lifestyle management. So welcome, Ujwala, your favorite subject, lifestyle disorder.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I would like to begin by a small prayer that I offer to my guru, who I am very indebted, for providing all the mentorship knowledge before he sadly passed away in 2022. It's his name was Dr. Ashok Paranspe from Thane, and he's from the same lineage like a lot of people from Pune are, which is Kolatkar and Fansalkar sir's tradition. So I would like to offer my prayer to him and all the gurus that came before him who imparted such valuable knowledge to him and through him to me. So, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. So I was very happy to know the subject that was given to me for speaking, which is the preventative as well as curative approaches of Ayurveda. Now, I've been practicing in the West for almost 2 decades, little less than 2 decades, I would say. And the beauty that I saw of practicing in the West is how simple things could be if we wanted to make it. I do not have the privilege of having hundreds of herbs and hundreds of Rasashastra preparations. And I'm not even going to go into whether it is permissible here or not. Marda sir is very familiar with the do's and don'ts of the Western practices. But what I would say is that I had this unique opportunity to really start to understand what is beyond the typical prescription that comes in. That where when there is a patient of Shwasa or patient of Jwara or patient of Atisara or Madhumeha, we have these classical preparations that are given in our texts, right? But what could it look like if we can simply backtrack, simplify our nidana, which is the diagnosis mainly, and really start devising the simple solutions? And mainly because of that, my practice grew because people knew that for complex, very complicated situations, I had solutions that were very simple and that worked. So if you look at typically preventative aspects, people will talk about Trayopastamba, which is Ahara, Nidra, and Brahmacharya. People will talk about Dinacharya and Rutucharya and Rasayanas. Like these are the broader framework if you look at it, like how Ayurveda approaches the preventative medicine. And in curative, typically it goes to the oral medication, the Panchakarma treatments, and again the Rasayanas. But I saw the unique opportunity, especially I'm here more in UK now, the unique opportunity to really dissect the diagnosis part of it. And I started to realize that even before you go to the prescription, there's a lot that you can do just by correcting the things that have caused these diseases in these particular patients. Coming to preventative approaches, what I saw was that more patients were interested. The patients who were interested in enhancing their performance, people who are typically sports people that I saw, people who are Chelsea or Arsenal football clubs players, especially, they are the ones who are more interested in tell us something that we can do so that our performance can be enhanced. These were perfectly fine, normal, healthy, so-called healthy people. Yeah. And then the other people that I found who were very interested in their health and well-being were the actors, the celebrities, so to speak, like the models, the people who work in the cinema industry, people who are the pop singers, basically. And then the next set of people who are very, very interested in their health and well-being are people who are entrepreneurs, people who are business people who are like typically other people who look at them and say like, okay, I would like to be this kind of a person. So in general, if you look at it, preventative approaches were mainly people who come to me are either of this category. Rarely I would get somebody who is just a housewife and she would be like suddenly one day she wakes up and says like, oh, I'm approaching my 40s and now I need to start working on my health, or a student who is studying a degree in the university and would want to say that, oh, let me go to Dr. Ujwala and get some tips on how do I enhance my studies or my output as a student. So I started to see like it's very interesting, like that what kind of people are drawn to Ayurveda, especially when they are already well, no issues at all with their health, and they want to enhance their performance basically. And when I want to look at the performance, one of the basic questions that I ask to them is how is your appetite? And they are very surprised when I start asking this question, because most of the people don't even ask them. Most of the practitioners that are there on their panels, they don't even ask them like, how's your appetite? And I said like, Ayurveda is all about Agni. And I then elaborate the concept of Agni, like it's not just the digestive fire, but anything that gets processed, like including your capacity to feel hungry, capacity to eat how much you can eat, capacity to how you feel after the after you have eaten, and of course the metabolism. And then I break it down for them. And also I say that it's not just the physical hungry, like physical appetite where you feel hungry and you eat food, but it's also how well you can process the thoughts that are thrown at you. So some people, like I've been here for last a decade plus, and we have had some major happenings, like Brexit happened within 2016 Brexit happened, or there are certain political situations, or the war in Gaza, or like there are happenings of this kind where people would always want to express their views. And I see patients who are from multiple nationalities. I mean, I joke about it that I don't have patients from Antarctica. Otherwise, I literally, since the beginning of my practice, not just now, but since the beginning of my practice, I literally have had patients from all the different continents. And the purpose of saying this is because over the years, I have come to an understanding that how, as human beings, no matter where you're from Africa, or Asia, or Australia, or America, or Europe, wherever you are from, there's so much similarities that we all have. And what differs us or what makes us different is not our food or not our, I mean, yes, as a doctor, I have to look at like how you eat and how you sleep and how you go about your day. But there's so much commonality that we all have. And understanding that made me help my patients in a better way. So somebody would say that, oh, one of my Israeli patients who is Jewish, he lives in London. When the October 2023 incident happened where there was an attack, the first thing she did was, there is a relic that they put outside, like how we have a horseshoe or something, or Ganesha, small Ganesha, or small yantras that sometimes we put outside of our home. You just like, it's a sign of auspicious sign. So a lot of people do display it. First thing she did that morning was to take away that sign so that nobody can identify her home as a Jewish home and attack her. So you can imagine the kind of sensitivity that we all have developed over the period of time. And if at all anything, I would say social media has only become counterproductive for that. The last week's Charlie Kirk's murder, if I don't know how many people have kept up with the news, but yesterday there was a person who was shot dead while he was rallying for his cause. And yesterday, in London, especially where I live right now, London, there were thousands of people who came on streets. Now, the purpose of saying all this is to understand, like, you may be sat in your home, but these things affect people day in, day out, and health and well-being is the first thing that gets impacted. I've had people who are like, I'm worried what will happen. People who I see people with different religions, different political backgrounds. And most of the times I see like every now and then I would get this a random message saying that I'm worried, I did not sleep well, I don't feel like eating anything, I'm canceling meeting my friends for the movie this evening. So I'm sure this is not happening or maybe happening in a very different way in India. But just to give you a glimpse of like, that what people go through on day-to-day basis here and how that can impact their health well-being and what are the measures that they are looking for to kind of find grounding, to kind of find some anchoring. And it is important for us to know this because I'm sure there are a lot of patients who are reaching out, the global patients who are reaching out to people who are practicing Ayurveda in India as well. So it is important that you understand that what kind of a world that these people are living in. I'm not talking about just the geography, but what kind of challenges that they have nowadays. And can we give them simple solutions so that they can start to implement it? I mean, one of the things that I would like to share here, and I have the option of sharing. So let me share it. Okay. So just a moment. So one of the things that I would share is this particular, it is just a representation. It is from one of my patients. And this was her dose that she takes in the morning. Okay. These are supplements. These are some of the medicines that were prescribed by another practitioner not another practitioner, multiple practitioners to her. And this person has come to me for, they call it metabolic syndrome. And you can imagine the appetite is not in place, the sleep is not in order. She wakes up with lethargy, doesn't want to move around. And this patient is taking this as one dose in the morning. Can you imagine like what could be, this is just a representation. She was taking 48 different supplements and medicines for a day, one day. And this is, again, as I said, this is representational. There are people that I routinely see who are taking more than 20 supplements, 25 supplements, 35 supplements, thinking that if they take that will prevent or manage their health and well-being, which is not the case. And this is why I said, one of the things, it was very insightful for me to know when I started practicing here that there is very little that I know. There's very little that I know in terms of Hetu, and there's so much to explore. So when I was a student back in India, we used to routinely hear like psychosomatic diseases. We routinely heard that term. And we used to say like, oh, maybe 90% of the diseases are psychosomatic. Some of the teachers would say the same thing. Yeah. But as I started understanding things in the West, I came to understand that no, you know what? Every single disease has roots, including infectious diseases. And I would talk at length about it at some point in time. But that how even in infectious diseases that we think a machar bit you and you got malaria, or you were exposed to coronavirus and you got COVID. No, even those, there is something what is very unique. The concept is very unique to Ayurveda, and that is called Pradyaparada. So let me see if I have that here. Yeah, Pradyaparada. So coming back to that, I started to understand that all diseases, they start with something when there is a violation of what we call pradnya, yeah, the innate intelligence that we all have, where patients know that, okay, this is not good for you. Patients, people, clients, whatever you want to call it, but they know that there is something that is good for them or not good for them. And then they still end up doing it, whether it is campaigning, political campaigns, whether it is just not staying overnight, not staying up late in the night, or whether it is not eating certain kind of foods, which they know that if they eat it, it's going to give them bloating, acidity, constipation, so on and so forth, right? So I started to explain this concept a little bit more to my patients, called Pradyaparada. And I started to see that whether the person has come to me for health enhancement, like on the wellness side, or the patient has come for treating the complex health issues. When I started to tell them what the pradnya is basically, and what I'm looking for, this is just to capture what you see here on the slide. It's just to capture, like, what I really mean by pradnya. We all are Ayurveda students, so we know what exactly it is. But when I started to tell them the nuances of it, the detailing about it, I started to tell them also that, one of the things that we will know that when the treatment is complete is when your innate wisdom is fully awakened, where I don't have to tell you whether what to do and what not to do, but you will be the one who will say that, I understand what really works for me and what really doesn't work for me. And I'm like so happy that we have this concept explained in Ayurveda this way, because this has been very, very useful for a lot of people. Just to give you an example of one of the patients I had, a footballer, and he had gone through 15 surgeries on his feet, one particular foot, the right foot, and it was not healing. It was not healing mainly because even before it is fully healed, he was subjected to rehabilitation program. And through rehabilitation program, they have this set things like you do 6 sessions or you do 8 or 12 sessions. There's a particular protocol that they have. And once the protocol is done, they would just induce him to play a match. Like they would just put him on the match. And as a result of that, he was having this repeated injury, which was just not healing. So one of the things that happened, and again, I said to him that it is when it comes to as a player, and no matter what sport you play, your window is very limited, and people don't want to be on the bench. People want to be on the ground playing the matches. And when he constantly kept seeing that how he's pushed and he's getting into these repeated injuries, of course he knew that he should not be going and playing, but he had to play because there was a risk of otherwise being dropped. And then if you get dropped, it's an uphill task to make it back to the team. As some of you may be aware of it, how we see more in cricket nowadays, that if you lose your place, it's difficult because there is more talent, there are younger people. So how do you make it back? So that goes pretty much in very competitive sports like football as well. So this person had the courage, and this was the interesting thing with the work that we did together. He gathered the courage to say that I'm not going to play this season. He chose to step back, and he chose to step back. The club ended up paying him the full amount, even though he didn't play. When he chose to step back, and again, I'm putting it back on his pradnya, that somewhere his pradnya was awakened by himself, of course, but he understood like what is good for his health and what is not good for health. He stepped down, then he resigned. Next season, he resigned. Even though he was better, he understood like playing like this is not going to help for him. So he resigned. He went back to his home country. He was picked up by his national side and he played for his national side, which won, ended up winning the World Cup. So you never know that how, and every now and then I would get these messages of like, being thankful for standing for this particular aspect. Like, I mean, this is what I would say. We can tell our patients, eat this, eat that, or start with this particular rasayana. But I think working on this soft skills, so to speak, like, emphasizing on that, how we are actually working on the understanding what's good for them. I mean, the concept of hitayu, the concept of sukhayu, all those things come in the picture here. And when people start to understand, they start to kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily slow down, but they start to really introspect. They start to introspect and they start to make choices accordingly. So yes, when a clean lifestyle is one of the important aspects of preventative measures that I take with my patients. I think it was Angelica who mentioned about the hormone disruptors and how we are swimming in the sea of hormone disruptors. She spoke mainly about estrogen, but I'm going to expand that topic a little bit more, and that how it was important for me to, again, I'll give you another example of my patient. This patient lived in New York, and I was supposed to go and see her there in February of 2020. Now, we all know what happened in February 2020. The world closed down because of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. So I was supposed to go and see her. That got cancelled. However, we said, okay, let's do remotely what I can suggest. Let's start with that. So one of the things that patient had was she was dealing with infertility, and she had gone through 9 failed IVFs. Okay, and that's the kind of case that she was. So I started to see that instead of bombarding her with some medicines, let's look at why it is not working. So I literally had to ask her, I need to know everything. I need to know what you eat. I need to know your routine. And I also need to know what is in your kitchen. Yeah. What do you do in your kitchen? What kind of spices are there? What kind of oils are there? What kind of, where do you buy your grocery from? The subsidies and the vegetables, like the fruits, vegetables, and those things. I need to know your like the laundry cabinet. So the laundry cabinet would have typically the washing up liquid, which is the liquid to like the detergent. But you'll be surprised what the people do here. And America and Europe is no different in that sense. They use fabric softeners. They use things which can be removing the stains remover for the white clothes, stains remover for the colored clothes. So I literally went through, like, over the Zoom, we went through all these small little details. And I was surprised to see that we ended up finding like 50 different kinds of chemicals that would have impacted her fertility. Now, I'm not saying like that was the only thing that was impacting her fertility, but we literally cleaned up all the things, and it's not easy. When you clean up things like this, one of the things that people have to deal with is like your buying organic is not cheaper. It increases your cost of living straight away. So buying organic, buying natural fabrics, like, as natural as possible, like buying cotton or linen or the bamboo or hemp. There's so many varieties, but buying different things of this kind is much expensive than just going to a shop and getting what's there on the shelf, right? So we cleaned her food by going as organic as possible, as local as possible. We cleaned her wardrobe to go with natural fabrics as much as we could do that. We cleaned up her laundry by literally moving to the basics of the cleaning materials, and of course the kitchen, along with the cleaning materials that she used in the kitchen too. Yeah. And as a result of that, this is one of the things that I would say, like, that probably this is one of the extreme cases, but I had not done any treatment with her. I was thinking about doing yoga basti krama. I did not do that. I cleaned up her food and like, the clothes and everything basically we cleaned up her environment. Yeah, we cleaned up her environment, and the only thing that I did was on the lines of shamana, because going through so many IVF cycles, clearly her system was flooded with the hormones, and like, I mean, I looked at it like a Amavisha, basically. Yeah. And I did shamana on her. Literally, this was 6 weeks time. And she sent me a message saying that she has missed a period. And I was jumping. I was straight away, I wanted to say, like, maybe you have conceived, but I refrained, because somebody who has gone through 9 failed IVFs, you have to be sensitive with them and not jump to conclusion like, oh, you may be pregnant. But I said, let's wait for a few more days, another week, and run a pregnancy test and see if you're pregnant. And when we did, it came out to be positive. And by now, so she conceived in April of 2020. She gave birth to that son, and then she has another child as well. Natural conception. Nothing was done. So this is, again, probably one of the extreme cases that I have, where we just cleaned up the environment and it worked. Yeah. But this is what a learning thing has been for me, that when cases come to me, I try and see what is really coming in their environment, whether it is their again, ahara or vihara, or what exactly is there. And it is surprising to see that how many people are using things that impact their hormones. Hormone disruptors is a thing to watch out for. Hormone disruptors is a thing to study and find solutions, is what I would say. Then the next thing that I would say in preventative medicine that is very high, that I really, really focus on, is sleep. So going back to ahara, nidra, and brahmacharya. So nidra is the second piece of it, I would say. Let me share a couple of cases that I have on the lines of ahara before I move to nidra. One of the cases that I had was esophageal hernia. This patient was 75 years old, and she had already been gone through 3 surgeries to corrective surgeries for her esophageal hernia. Given her age, her family was very clear that they are not going to go ahead and subject her to another surgery. The thing that they couldn't cope up with was that every time she would eat, a time would come when she would stop eating and she would start to bring up the food in front of everyone, and that was getting increasingly embarrassing for her family. So they said, like, even if we don't do anything about her hernia, but if she could stop bringing up the food like this, which is a sight to see, not in a good way, we would be happy. So I was very clear, like, that this patient has there is something that she's doing. So I had to sit with her and see what's going on. I observed her and I realized, one, she was chewing way too fast. And she's always done that, chewing way too fast. And the other thing that was always there with her was a can of Coke. This woman is a Jewish woman who was born in Poland. She was not born in Israel. She was born in Poland, and she has lived in UK all her adult life, including now. And one of the habits that she developed was, people, when they sit and eat with family in the evening, they want to drink wine. Instead of wine, she thought Coca-Cola is better because it would other people will not feel left out. So she started drinking Coca-Cola. And over the period of time, she liked the taste of it. So she would drink Coca-Cola for lunch and dinner as well. So I saw that and I said, like, you know what? One of the things that we have to do is probably reduce your fizzy drinks, consumption of your fizzy drinks. And she was not okay with it at all. Like, it was literally like I was asking for her arm, like, literally in that sense. So I said, you have to reduce this because I think this is what is causing your food to come up. Not just your food to come up, but even your esophageal hernia was caused probably over the period of time. It's not a straight cause, but it was one of the contributing causes probably. And she was not happy. And I said, okay, let's do one thing. Let's reduce the amount to 2/3. So we started with 2/3 of amount. This was the first time when she was complying, like, she was okay with making some changes. So when she started to reduce, she said, okay, I can do 2/3, I can do half. So she started to reduce the amount slowly, slowly. 3 days when she did not have this Coca-Cola at all was the first time she stopped bringing up this food. And for her family, it was like a blessing, because you know what, it's not easy. It may not look like a big deal at all for a lot of people, but when you're sat on dinner table and you're having food and there's somebody who is bringing out food like that, it can cause gruna. We all understand what gruna is, like, like, it is repulsive for other people. And when this started to happen, she understood that it was the Coca-Cola which was contributing. Of course, it was not the only reason. Another thing was also she was chewing so fast. So we helped her understand the things properly, and that helped that case. No further surgeries, no further nothing. The patient is perfectly fine without Coca-Cola. She enjoys her dinners, and so does her family. On the basis of chewing very fast, I can't tell you how many patients I see who routinely I have to tell them to slow down. Now, most of the cultures in the world have this saying where they say, "Oh, you chew your morsel for 32 times." Now, try it on. Most of the food that we eat nowadays, the modern food, which is typically like, they would eat pasta, or they would eat something which is like a one pot meal with some rice or some curry, or even our meals, which are roti, sabzi, dal, chawal, those kind of things. None of the things would stay for more than like 10, 12 more, like 10 to 12 times you chew. It liquefies and it starts to move further. So 32 times is a bit of an exaggeration. However, I do tell people to, like, just chew it as much as you can, If you just chew a couple of times and gulp it inside, just see if you can double the time. See if you can take it a little longer. And because of this, several IBS patients, I have seen that just one simple thing, which is chewing slowly, It has helped these people to kind of minimize. See, where you can't avoid it, I tell people, if you can't avoid it fully, you try to minimize it. If you can't minimize it, at least try to go slow as you can, with the things that can be triggering, or with the things that you are finding difficult to adopt, to change. It's easy for us to say, okay, don't do this and don't do that. However, as life lived, it is very difficult for many people to adopt to those changes and make those corrections. So we start very slow, and when we start slow, we start to see the results, especially when these are the factors which have been which have been the triggering factors, which have been working as hetus all along. So when you stop that leakage, when you stop that influx of hetus, you start to see that yes, things start to improve. The other thing that I would say that is kind of missed in our practice in India, and I'm sure now there is a rise of those kind of cases. So you may be seeing kids, especially with more allergies, kids with sensitivities. So there would be allergy or there would be sensitivity. In the West, those patients have always been there for last. For speaking for this particular conference, I looked up when did they start talking about lifestyle? Like when did that word came into existence? And it's not a very old word. They started in somewhere like in 1900, in the beginning of that, and it was spoken in the context of psychology, not in the context of health medicine at all. After the Second World War, there was somebody who did the research on heart, especially like cardiac diseases, and that was like 1948. And this was the first time this person realized, people's habits, whether it is smoking or whether it is drinking, or the kind of sedentary lifestyle that they have, it is impacting these heart issues. And then it still took some time for this lifestyle in the context of health to gain some momentum. And it was mainly after 1970s when WHO came in, like the World Health Organization was formed, and they started to look at what is our answer to the diseases that are not infectious. So they had the set of infectious diseases, and what's happening with the non-communicable, non-infectious diseases. And that's when the more focus they put on that, they started to realize that how mixed it was with lifestyle, how people ate, how their routine was, what kind of things that stress them out. So typically speaking, in the modern medicine, if you look at it, they look at lifestyle medicine or preventative medicine mainly from the perspective of nutrition, sleep, stress, exercises. Typically, this is the broader framework that they have. In Ayurveda, if you look at it, we look at hetus and corrective measures both from ahara, vihara, dinacharya, rutucharya. These are our basic pillars, so to speak, isn't it? So it has been very interesting in understanding various these aspects and really solutions, like simple solutions that we can give to people. So speaking of allergies, there is a case, not my case, but that happened when this happened, like I think almost, this was pre-pandemic, so somewhere in 2016 or 18 it happened here in London, where this young girl who was 9 years old, she ate blackberry pancakes that her dad made. So it was a Sunday. She went with her dad to a supermarket, bought blackberries, made the pancake. First morsel she ate, and she turned black and blue. So she had severe allergy to this blackberries, and somehow I ended up connecting with her mom because I have a child of my own. He's now 15, and I wanted to know, like, what would you do? What is your answer to something like this, where you don't even know what you're allergic to? You can, of course, run the test and all that, but blackberries it's not an exotic fruit. It's something that's available in the market very easily. And I wanted to know, like, what is it that I could tell my patients, including my looking after my own son, that what are the things that we can be careful about when you just don't know what they're allergic to. And I started to notice that how much, and of course, we get the patients routinely. I'm sure in India as well now, they have peanut allergies or nut allergies or gluten allergy or gluten sensitivity. Like you would see that. I don't want to, so get me correctly, I don't want to mix up allergies to sensitivities. But when it comes to Ayurveda, the approach is quite similar in how we treat these patients. But more awareness is needed even in our community, I would say. There is not much, quite often it is looked as something that kind of chalta hai, we say, like a very casual approach. And sorry to say this because I have seen patients who have been to other practitioners and then they come. Often I would say that, have you told them very clearly, like this was what you were dealing with? And people would always, these patients would often say that, yes, I did. And it was not looked at as if it was a problem. Dust allergies. A lot of people are allergic to dust, and it can trigger certain quick symptoms where it is really, it can get into emergencies. So do not take allergies or sensitivities lighter. They can be fatal in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases. And when even modern medicine cannot do anything, it can be so quick, like like that. So when I contacted this girl's mom, what I came to know is she was already dealing with other things, like she had asthma, childhood asthma, and she also her family, like her parents, were on the verge of divorcing. So I could see like there's definitely stress. She probably had a lot of kavaigunya, another concept that can be elaborated a lot, like how kavaigunya gets caused because of the certain lifestyle choices people make. So in this case, there was kavaigunya, and then something which was literally vishavat, literally like so toxic when consumed, was so fast that she was on ventilator for 4 days, and finally they had to take a call and take away the life support. The child died. Having the awareness of this kind of cases has made me understood that it is very important to go slow, because nowadays we are dealing with a lot of cases where they are on, I showed you the picture, they are on several medications. There's another picture which is like, I like to share pictures because we say like they are very impactful, and they tell a story, right? So this is a picture. This is not mine again. This is I took it up from the newspaper, one of the newspapers here. So the patient had gone through several IVF cycles. They tried it for 4 years to conceive, and these are 1,616, so 1616 needles, injections, empty injections, that this is girl child, this baby's mom had gone through to get a baby. Now you can imagine the kind of impact it must be having on her, all the system, okay, all the system. And this is again another extreme example, but just to give a representation, not everybody is collecting the syringes, or not everybody's keeping up with like all the receipts and everything that they have. They are like the efforts that they're doing to buy supplements, to buy good food. Nobody's doing that. But there is a cost right now that we are seeing in the West, where even a natural conception is becoming such a big task. And I'm not saying that it can be, I'm not saying that, I'm not underplaying the challenge here, but I can tell you that the patients that I see, I often see that you start to clean their diet, you start to clean their habits that are counterproductive for them to conceive. You get them to sleep regularly and correct the aspects which are what we call sleep hygiene nowadays. So you start to correct their sleep hygiene, and you start to see that, yes, things have started to improve. Things have started to move in the right direction, where they may still have to go for IVF, maybe, and one cycle and it will succeed. 1 or 2 cycles, it will succeed. So again, like, if you look at this picture, I can imagine what kind of pain that this woman would have gone through to conceive. And it's one of the, I'm sure it's happening in India as well. Like if you look around and ask any 10 random people, like who are the who in your who do you know who conceived naturally? I've been asking this question almost for over a decade here, and I can see the decline, and the decline is rapid. And the answers could be in following Rutucharya, answers could be in following Dinacharya, answers could be in following the things which are like, which are on the lines of what do you call Hitayu? Like, see, I saw this post this morning. And it is a thing that so somebody who this is about a service that somebody got from a mechanic, the tire mechanic. He said, the car mechanic. He said, I called up this center to tell them like this is the issue that I have. The person on the call said, why don't you do this? So they ran them through some instructions, and the issue with the car was fixed without taking the car to the garage to repair. And the person who had the issue with their car, they laughed at it and said like, this is a stupid business model you have. This way you will not make any money. And he said, yes, it's a perfect model for me to have sound sleep at night. So how many people are like, the vocation that you have, the profession that you are in, how many people are having this kind of awareness that I want to do what I want to do today? Yes, I will make more money, less money, whichever way it is, but I want to have a good sleep in the night. And that kind of awareness is getting challenging, because you know what, everybody's trying to survive. But if you really take it easy, understand what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and really start to make the small little changes here and there, you will see like, no, sound sleep comes with a cost, and it's better to pay that cost versus not sleeping well and then having to pay the doctors so much, and sometimes the recovery is not even reversible. So it is like what we say, like, the common sense, which is not so common, but yeah, we put our best foot forward and try to do what we can do. The other case that I would like to say before moving on to Nidra is the case where a lot of you, even now in India also, it is getting popularized because of these social media influencers, where people take apple cider vinegar. And a lot of people take apple cider vinegar mainly to lose, like to tackle their obesity, or they take it because they are going to eat something sweet later. So to regulate their blood sugars. Again, these are the things that are coming so much from West, and they are misunderstood, not taken into consideration the factors like how is your Agni, how is your age, how is your the country that you live in, and it's a blind following. So here is the case that I had. The case was from India, and a patient lived in India, and she started having this apple cider vinegar. The patient came to me when she had fully breast cancer developed. And one of the things that I found in her, like when I asked the questions, one of the things that she was regularly doing almost for upwards of 2 years was having apple cider vinegar first thing in the morning. Of course, she was having diluted, but that was the one thing that she was doing regularly to stay healthy and slim, basically. And when I saw, of course, the patient came to us because breast cancer, and she had to go through the radiation, chemotherapy, and everything. But she wanted to understand, like, is there anything that we could suggest to her? And this was the one thing that I said, like, looked like her Vikruti was tipping off towards Pitta. Of course, it is a young woman having breast cancer, so you have to look at the Pitta period anyway. And what we saw was this could have been fuel to the fire that was already brewing in her body. Taking apple cider vinegar was absolutely counterproductive. Now, I don't want to scare people and say like this is the thing that caused it, but in this particular case, I would say that yes, it played a fire to, like, it played as a fuel to that fire. So it is important that you understand the cases. There are no general rules. There is general broader framework that one can go by, but you must look at the individual cases and see what is it that, even if it's preventative, what is it that you need to correct in this case. A lot of sports people that I see, they are gulping water all the time. And I had to tell them, like, even water needs to be digested properly. So yes, their physical output is higher, so it's natural for them to feel more thirsty. But are they really processing, like, are they really digesting even the water that they're drinking? And most of the times, these people are drinking mineral water, which again is heavier. So simple corrections on those kinds they start to see, like, yes, their water intake can reduce. And again, I'm not for taking less or more water. I'm for taking the appropriate amount of water. And a lot of time people don't even realize that they're thirsty. So how do we create that kind of awareness? It's all about educating ourselves first to understand what could be the triggers in this particular person, and then accordingly teaching these people to be aware of how are their malas, like how well their bowel movements are. Most of the times, not so much women. I would say women are naturally curious, so they kind of check these things anyway. But for male patients, I would say most of the times it's like they don't even know like why I'm asking, and I have to tell them like why I'm asking them to observe this thing. How are you sweating? How's your bowel movement? How's your urine? Does it leave froth when you urinate? Does it leave froth there? So I said, even before the full-blown disease happens, these are the things that are indicate it. You don't even need to go to the laboratory, check to test, like, do the testing. Do that, it's good. But before that, what could you do on the daily basis? How is your breath? Sometimes people don't even communicate, like, that your breath has some smell to it, obnoxious smell to it, but they would just walk back. This was one of the interesting things one of my patients said, like, I don't even realize it that people are finding my breath difficult to be with, but I could see them, like, when they talk to me, they keep a distance. So simple things like this can be very good giveaway for a lot of things that could come in the future, or when you start correcting those issues, you will start to see that yes, the urine starts to get cleaner, their bowel movements are regular, their sleep is better, their breath is better. So I always say that I'm a very big proponent of clinical science. Like, can you diagnose people even before you send them for laboratory tests, for their scans? Yes, do that, use that if it is something that you need. But can we do something before that clinically? And I do rely a lot on, because now it is available, so I do rely on performance, what do you call, like, the gadgets, like say Whoop. A lot of you may be following cricket, and you would see like nowadays all cricketers are wearing this band on their hand, which is called Whoop. It is one of the what do you call, the tracking gadgets, and it is one of the very important. Of course, it comes with affordability and all that. These things are not cheaper at all. But if one can invest in a good gadget like that, it will give you some indication of how well you're coping up with physical stress, how well you're coping up with, like, how's your heart rate, how your heart rate goes up and down with certain things. I have patients who use these things, and I can tell you the accuracy with which I have found them useful is when this particular patient has nightmares, her you can see the spike on those graphs. Now, this gives us the quantitative data. This still does not give us qualitative data, which is when we come in the picture, where we can assess, understand this data that is represented to us, that what is the qualitative aspect of it. One of the things Marda sir just said, the Teja Ruksha and Vayu Ruksha. And I always tell people that when they come to me, and I know that these people are using the spas, and they go for sauna, steam. I always tell them the difference between sauna and steam. Otherwise, it is so interesting that they don't even know that how staying in sauna can be contributing to their illnesses, or doing steam when they are supposed to do sauna. It's again the awareness, basic awareness that I'm talking about. But it is not there. It is not, people are not aware of that. They just think that, oh, I have this facility available, I need to do this. So they do the exercise in the gym for almost upwards of 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Straight away, they go and have a quick shower, which is typically cold, because cold showers, ice baths are more on the wellness. If you look at the wellness circuit in the West, ice baths are very, very popular. So they do a quick shower, cold shower, and then they go straight into the sauna or steam. They'll stay there for like 5-10 minutes typically, come out, again have shower. I mean, what are we doing here? We are making our system more and more fragile, basically. And of course, it depends on patient's bala, and also the bala of the hetu that is being consumed or that they are exposed to, that it will determine whether the breaking point will come within a year or within a month or within 10 years. But of course, it's weakening the system. So breaking is about to happen at some point in time. right? So that's about ahara that I wanted to cover, and I want to go to nidra. Again, the basic concept of nidra. Let me see if I have a slide there. I don't think I have it here. Okay, so the basic, just a moment. Yeah, the basic thing about nidra again is the hours. People know that, oh, I don't get 8 hours of sleep, or I don't get 6 hours of sleep, or I can do very well with 4 hours of sleep. I always tell them that it is not about the hours, it's also about the quality. So, both, again, you need to look at the quantity as well as the quality of it. And don't look at sleep as just a time to cut off, just it is not not just what do you call, um, just switch off the button and you're asleep and that's it. It's not. There's a lot that you can gain, in fact, from there. So, a lot of people don't even understand. They are in their bed and they're scrolling mobile. I've been guilty of doing it at times as well. So you expose yourself to the certain kind of lights, whether screen light, it's called blue light, um, towards the evening, and people don't realize that even after you close your eyes and like you think you're fallen asleep, but your certain part of your brain are still active because of being exposed to this blue light. Of course, now there is a problem. Most of the times there are solutions as well. So there are blue screen blockers that one can get for your big instruments like, say, laptop or television. There are blue light blockers, or there are glasses that you can get. But above all, I always tell people, that find a way to optimize your daytime in a way that you don't have to do things of this kind towards the end of the day. Not always possible, but you can work towards that and see that how I can minimize my blue light exposure towards the end of the day so that I can have a sound sleep. And again, when it comes to sleep, one of the things, this is the research that's available on public platforms, so one can easily tap into it. One of the research that was done is that they tried this small little LED light on the back of the leg of this person, and to track how well that person slept. And they saw that even a small little light like that disrupted the sleep cycle, how well the person can deep into the sleep and all that. And that's what it is. So again, I always tell people that I look at sleep as one of the medicines, like one of the important aspects of medicine, because if you sleep well, that's when your body can repair on its own. Like your system can start working on its own. And if you don't sleep well, then your body is trying to catch up with it. So you're adding to your causes, you're already in pain. And on top of that, if you couldn't sleep because of pain, yes, but if you don't sleep well, we are going to play a catching up game all along. So how do you enhance the aspect of sleep is, of course, if possible, this is all, if your home is somewhere on the main street or something, there are factors that you can't control, but try and control what's possible within your four walls. And it has been very interesting to see that how less of medication, the oral medication that you do or the treatments that you do, that can go down if people really take on this sleep like improvising on the sleep aspect. So that was the other thing that I wanted to say. And so if you look at this slide, this preventative health, one moment. Yeah. So I have put this, and then there is another one that I have. I'm happy to share if somebody wants. But my intention is here. If anybody has any questions, my intention was to just give some snippets because it is so vast. It is difficult to explain everything in this time that is given. And of course, the time given is very generous. I probably ended up speaking more than what I should. But I would like to open the mic for other people to ask any questions if you have. And I hope what I shared so far has been useful. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Marda. I'm trying to.
Yes, thank you, ma'am, for your very nice, wonderful session. I request and all the participants, if they have any question or query, they can raise the question. so that ma'am will answer. And apart from that, now just Dr. Asavari Manvikar ma'am has joined as a chairperson for this session. If any know any question, then I will introduce ma'am and we will take the question answer also. So I welcome Dr. Asavari Manvikar ma'am. Ma'am is MD Kaya Chikitsa from University of Pune, India. And she is a gold medalist from the Institute of Indian Medicine in 2001. And she is founder and lead faculty for Minnesota Institute of Ayurveda. At present, she has established and lead one of the premier Ayurveda education center. And she is practicing Ayurveda at present, and she has also running a center for spirituality and healing in University of Minnesota. She teaches graduate level courses in Ayurveda and integrative health, physical as well as an online mode. She has also collaborative interdisciplinary team to promote the holistic health education. She is a faculty member of Ayurveda Medicine of a BSDT Ayurveda College, Pune, in India, during the 2001 to 2003. And she is also expert yoga teacher as well as trainer. She has 15 years teaching advanced yoga and leading teaching training program at Yoga Center, Retreat and Green Lotus Yoga. She is also community educator for various regular workshops and public talks. She is currently adjunct faculty at Normanville Community College offering certificate programs in Ayurveda. She is also president of Manchester Ayurveda Association. She is the state director, Association of Ayurvedic Professionals in North America, that is APNA. And she is also committee member of Beta Ayurvedic Doctor Program, that is NAMA. She is a chair for Global Webinar Research Series Project Council of Ayurveda Research. She is editorial board member of International Journal of Research in Ayurveda, Ayurveda and Allied Sciences run by PD Ayurveda College. She is also advisory board member of Hindu Community Center. She has several national and international peer review paper on her credit. She is also a frequent speaker at global conferences, webinar on Ayurveda, yoga and holistic wellness. So I really welcome Dr. Asavari ma'am for these sessions, and I request for your concluding remark as well as chairperson remark. Before that, if any question from the participant, we can take. I think a very nice presentation by Dr. Ujwala ma'am also. And all other our guest speaker like Angelica, Mariana, and Dr. Pierre also in the afternoon session. So I really would like to express my gratitude for all joining guest speaker for this international conference on globalization of Ayurveda on behalf of my college, Jupiter Ayurvedic Medical College, and I am a principal, Dr. S.K. Danga, to represent my college here. So it was a good experience and response from all the participants throughout India as well as overseas. So now I request Dr. Asavari ma'am to conclude with her chairperson remark as well as concluding remark. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for wonderful introduction. And it has been a wonderful conference today. Good morning, good evening, everybody. I'm joining from Minnesota, and there is a small slideshow, so I would like to go through it. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, so I would like to talk a little bit about Ayurveda in global public health and the integration of ancient wisdom with modern healthcare. So before I start, I would like to say a little bit about my journey. My all education was in Pune at Tirak Ayurved Mahavidyalaya, and then I came to St. Louis, Missouri. So before coming to the US, I was teaching at BSDT, Bharatiya Sanskriti Darshan Trust. I was also involved into Cancer Research Center. And when I came here in the US in 2003, what I noticed that the awareness was really missing. People did not know about Ayurveda at all. People did not know how to pronounce the word. And that's how it became my mission to bring Ayurveda to the forefront and definitely increase the awareness. Then I came to Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2005. So up until now, so last almost 20, 25 years, I'm here in Minnesota. I have seen there is a change definitely. There is a, because of the globalization, there is huge demand as well as Ayurveda, as we know, can do wonders. And there is definitely a lot of need, but it is happening gradually. So I developed programs and I started teaching at Center for Spirituality and Healing at Minnesota University. I started having my own practice, IU Wellness, and seeing a lot of clients. And the education again was the most important, thing here in the US. So I decided to have institute, and I created an institute, Minnesota Institute of Ayurveda, and now we run various programs there. So it has been a huge journey, long journey, lot of work, and lot of efforts to bring Ayurveda forefront from the scratch, honestly. But this is how I would like to say a little bit, about my own journey here in the US. And now the things have definitely shifted. They have changed a lot. There are a lot of other organizations, there are a lot of other schools, there are many more practitioners who are coming to the US, and they are trying to develop their practice as well as bring it to the community. So this is a little bit about my school, Minnesota Institute of Ayurveda, and our mission is to promote the authentic education here in the US and as well as globally. And this is a little bit about my practice where I see clients for Panchakarma as well as definitely diet and lifestyle recommendations and healing. So yeah, I would like to talk a little bit about, why Ayurveda matters in the global health. So if we look at the overall picture, where is Ayurveda right now? Where is the need? What is the demand? And what can we do together? See, this is not one person's work. It needs a lot of collaboration. So, finding out the key areas where we can actually bring our strength. So, the key areas of public health relevance as well as the evidence is really important, and the integration into the healthcare system. And definitely, we'll talk a little bit about the future directions. So, when we look at Ayurveda's public health, paradigm, where Ayurveda fits in, so all of us we know that Ayurveda is a holistic health system. It connects body, mind, and spirit, and it is extremely important for the prevention. So Swasthasya Swasthya Rakshan, that is our first goal. And definitely, if there are any health issues, we use the individualized approach to see the clients, to see the patients, and to help them heal. So, lifestyle management, dinacharya, rutucharya, these are extremely important for the prevention, and everybody can do it without much intervention. So, again, the awareness is very, very needed, and that is happening at different levels. Here in the US, I would like to talk more about the US because I'm here last 25 years. So if you look at the global challenges, right, in which areas we can actually penetrate or participate and bring our expertise and help people to heal. So if you see the rising burden of non-communicable diseases, right, there are so many diseases which are lifestyle diseases, disorders, and they are rising. So how can we help? By using our intellect, our knowledge, our wisdom, our years of education, as well as years of experience. In the mental health, there is definitely a huge crisis, not just in the US, but worldwide. So where can we, help people? Women's health, as Dr. Ujwala, she just spoke about it. It's such an important aspect. The women as well as the children, how they need, the Ayurveda help, as well as the climate change. And there are so many changes happening currently all over, everywhere in the world. And how the health is getting impacted, and where and how we can bring in our knowledge and help people. And also regarding the the populations where Ayurveda has not reached yet, how to reach there. right? So this is really, I would say, like a bird's eye view. These are all different areas where there is a need and where we can go and where we can help collectively, collaboratively. So again, these are some facts. So if you look at WHO website, you will find a lot of information about the burden, what things are happening, and how people get having a lot of health problems, challenges, and even deaths because of that. So if you see NCDs, which are the non-communicable diseases, killed at least 43 million people in 2021. And again, this is about 2021. We are in 2025 right now. So 75% of people, they are actually facing a lot of issues. And these are the areas where actually Ayurveda is absolutely very, very helpful. And we can bring in, all our knowledge and we can help people for cardiovascular diseases. If you look at, these are the 4 sections where there are a lot of people who are having major issues. So cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, complications of diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases, and cancer. So the numbers are rising every single minute globally. Again, I'm not talking only about one specific area, but this is a global issue where we all should collectively work together and bring in our wisdom and help people. We'll see how we can do that. So again, this is regarding the burden, and we know that the key areas definitely is the diet, because everything goes back to the Trayopastambha, right? So Ahar, Nidra, and Brahmacharya. So how can we convey this information, this knowledge, and its importance in day-to-day life? See, these things are not when you start getting the health problems or when you start getting the symptoms, but from the beginning. We need to bring this in the community, in the awareness. That needs to be shift. So we know that the ahar, the sattvic ahar, like the food combinations and plant-based diet, which is very challenging to find here in the US. Most of the people, they are very high, GMO based foods, as well as like everything is frozen, everything is can-based. It's really hard to find good quality, wholesome food, plant-based food. Most of the times people eat a lot of meat as well. And there are so many diseases which are contributed because of that. So how to change, how to make the shift in the thinking process? So we really need to go a little bit more deeper in this issue. Also regarding the sleep, I see so many students, at the University of Minnesota as well as in my own institute, the students really are depriving with their sleep. They do not consider sleep is an important factor of the life, and that's how there are a lot of mental health disorders as well, lot of anxiety, there is depression, and there are a lot of other challenges people are facing all the time. So how to bring the dietary lifestyle, regimens, how to bring the detoxification process, how to just understand, right? Like look at, as Dr. Ujwala was talking about, like check your breath, check your tongue every day in the morning, in the mirror, something that you can do on your own. So these are some very simple tools and techniques, but people are not aware of those, right? So how to do that, as well as bringing actual, cleansing processes and the importance of it to the global, population is really important. That is the need of the day. Also the stress management. I mean, there is stress for every single person, whether it is a small kid who is going into the elementary school, till if you look at people who are at the CEO position, every single person has a lot of, stress related to the time, related to the financial situation, related to the changes which are happening globally, on different levels. So how can we help them, right, to heal from that? So some tools like the meditation, pranayama, which they can do on their own, even at home, without really going to and spending, a lot of time and money into it. So this is the, awareness that needs to happen, that needs to globally, shift. So regarding the mental health crisis, if we see, according to WHO, there has been almost 1 billion people who are actually having mental health disorders. So on different levels, right? Some people are having like very mild level generalized anxiety, and some people are really having a lot of depression where they are actually committing suicide. I have seen like so many people, even the kids at a very young age, they are dying because of this situation, because there is loneliness, there is no goal to the life, they don't know how to live. The daily routine honestly really helps us to keep with the discipline, and there is a goal for the life, right? But these things are, people are not really aware of that. So how to bring all these things in the community? Post pandemic, I mean, during the pandemic, the things changed so much because everybody had to study or do all the work from home. So the communication gap was huge. And after that, there is a huge rise in anxiety and depression, almost 25%. And it's honestly everywhere. So how we can help people to build that mind body, connection, using our paradigm, using sattva based model, and how to bring it to every single person, how to make this as a household, like how to bring Ayurveda in every household. How to get rid of the emotional toxins, right? Because they are so deep rooted. There is so much PTSD, lot of trauma that I see like every day and in and out, in my practice, and how to heal from that, right? So these are, some areas where Ayurveda can really help a lot, and these are the areas where there are a lot of challenges right now. We definitely can use like a lot of herbal remedies, Sattvavajaya Chikitsa, which is really fascinating and very important. Along with that, we can do some Panchakarma treatments, Shirodhara, Abhyanga. We can ask people to do it on their own. So they can do their Marma massage, they can do regular Abhyanga on a day-to-day basis, as well as like yoga, meditation, pranayam. It has huge impact. And what I really feel is the necessity of awareness, because people are not aware of these beautiful tools which are out there for more than 5,000 years. I'm honestly like, you cannot really go back and say exactly how many years. That's old and that's ancient and that's beautiful, our science is. In the women's health, I see there are so many complex issues. So regarding the childbirth as well as higher cost, and so people are not really getting the healthcare services as they need. They do not know what kind of food is good for them, during the pregnancy, as well as they wait a lot. Like most of the times, women wait a lot because of the career to become pregnant, as well as there is no awareness about how to take rest, even during the pregnancy, after the delivery, how to take care of the baby. There is absolutely no awareness. The second day they start walking out of the home immediately after the childbirth, and do not follow any regimen at all regarding the diet as well as the lifestyle. And then after that, they start facing so many health issues on a larger scale, going forward, and they do not know where the cause is. So again, it's really important to make them aware what needs to be done. And regarding the breast cancer as well as the cervical cancer, there are so many cases which are rising again, so where Ayurveda can definitely help is explaining regarding the menstrual health before any health issues, they start popping up, from even childhood, from menarche. The girls need to know about these things because the life is so competitive. Everybody wants to go and to do all the sports even during the menstruation, right? So how to take care of that? What is the care? what needs you need to avoid during that time, so that it will not go to the extent where you will need in the future as IVF, right? So, how to take care during the pregnancy, how to take care after, menopause, during the menopause, the support, right? So, with the herbs as well as with the emotional care, with the fluctuation, with so many hormonal changes a woman goes through, how not just, Ayurveda, but also the community can help a woman to go through it. Also, regarding the cancer, honestly, like I see so many clients every single day. The numbers are rising very, very quickly because of many factors. Honestly, like there is a lot of stress. The food is not good, as well as people are not aware that they need to take rest and also do the cleansing processes as needed. So how to integrate, right? How to integrate Ayurveda along with other systems which are available, which are in the mainstream, wherever we are practicing, because this is global health issue. For the children, or for the kids' health, again, how to improve the immunity. There are few simple things, the moms can do, as well as both the parents actually, they can do, is like looking at their food, what they are eating every day. If you have, a cold drink, you can do like cold water, boil it, and then give it to your babies as they are growing. Making sure that they are taking like good quality milk and milk products. Again, regarding the milk, people do not drink cow milk. There is just no awareness at all. There is a lot of fear actually. Forget about awareness. I see there is a lot of fear based situation. People every time feel like, oh, if I eat this, what will happen to me? If I drink milk, I might start getting, hormonal issues. And I should completely avoid that. And there are a lot of food allergies as well, because there are so many toxins built up in their bodies over a period of time, right? So how to explain them and how to help them to reduce those allergies what they are going through, how to let them know what are the good dietary recommendations or changes they need to do. If you go to cafeteria in the schools, um, honestly the picture is so bad, and the kids are growing like eating these foods day in and out every single day, because the parents are working, the kids go to the school, they eat food there and in the cafeteria. If you look at the food combinations, they are really, really bad. I mean, they eat like a lot of meat. Along with that, there is strawberry milk, like there are like different milkshakes. The food is very, very cold in the cold areas, right? So there is a lot of viruddhashan that is happening every single day. And at some point, their system breaks down. There is so much ama that is created in the body, and then ultimately they start facing a lot of allergies, food allergies. They have to stop eating foods. Same thing is regarding the gluten. Whether people are having allergies or not, they stop eating gluten-based product completely. So how can they get nutrition? Where can they get nutrition from? So that is the biggest challenge right now. How to create healthy habits, and how to manage overall your anxiety, your stress, how to create those good routines for sleep. So there are so many different areas where the kids really need a lot of education, and I feel like it's important to bring Ayurveda from the elementary, or at least from the middle school, because that is the growing age, right? So once you develop all these good skills at that time, you can grow with those things, and then you continue those practices even in the future. Regarding a lot of infectious diseases, viral, there is so much viral load and there is so much immunization. So before thinking about, immunization, try to build your own ojas, try to look at your immunity, try to look at so many beautiful rasayana practices. Try to add some foods which can be helpful to, improve all your tissue health, right? So in order to have that immunity going so that you can face all these, viral as well as bacterial infections which are out there. So there is a lot of awareness, or there is a lot of load related to the immunization, but I feel like it's important to use Ayurveda before you get to that point. So having like, even holy basil. So there are so many herbs as well as spices which are easily available. There are local spices as well. So for example, mint, rosemary, these are the very easily available spices. The ginger, it's all over. Turmeric, all over. Everywhere you can find it, no matter which city or which area you go to. So these are beautiful spices, having lot of, strength, and they can help improve our Agni, reduce the ama, as well as improve the dhatu bala. But again, the awareness is missing here, right? So we need to bring this to every single person, every single household. So there is this WHO recognition to Ayurveda, which is amazing. There is a lot of recognition Ayurveda getting because of, honestly, because of lot of work and effort and collaboration, and Ayush support is very, very, very important. And things have changed last few years. There is no doubt about it. But besides that, I feel the standardization, the regulation, and most importantly, in the country like USA, the insurance coverage is very, very important, because Ayurveda currently is not licensed, it is not covered by insurance. And if you want to use Ayurveda for, for general public, for everybody, it's really important to get it covered by insurance companies, because people pay very hefty premiums in order to get insurance, and only the mainstream is covered by the insurance. And that's how, even if there is huge need, people cannot use Ayurveda in their day-to-day practice. So what are the future directions? What are the future areas where we can collaborate, right? So the conferences like today's conference, the international conference, to know what things are happening at different level regarding Ayurveda, regarding its awareness, regarding its use in day-to-day practice, as well as at the research level, as well as at the study, right? Bringing awareness through the education. So all that is very, very needed. So these collaborations need to happen more and more often, as well as the licensing, the support. If Ayush can help to support for the licensing, not just in the USA but also in other countries, so that Ayurveda can become accepted and more regularized in other countries also, and people can practice it on a larger scale, right? So it needs to come in the policies. So the policymakers really need to think about it, as well as collaborate and work heavily on it. Again, I feel like that is one of the missing thread here. So we know that Ayurveda is a beautiful preventative science, beautiful healthcare system. We all love it and we all believe into it. We all practice it for ourselves, as well as we try to bring it to general population as much as we can, because of its most preventative, personalized, as well as holistic view. We know that there are so many global challenges on different levels, everywhere. There is a huge demand. There is some awareness that is building on different levels, but again, there is unity that is missing, I feel, because it is happening on different levels, but it needs to be collective effort, not on an individual level, not on a one or two different organization level. It has to happen on a huge level. So it needs to come into the licensing, and also the insurance coverage is very, very important. And this is the path to healthier, happier life. We know that the quantity of life has increased, or the lifespan has increased, People used to die in their 60s, now they live until 80s, even 90s. So definitely there is a huge change that has happened last few years, but the quality of life is totally missing. People are taking so many medications all the time. And there are so many side effects because of those pharmaceuticals and the chemicals. So how we can help them to reduce that load, that burden, and also the stress, physical stress, emotional stress, mental stress, as well as financial stress. How we can help collectively, that's really, really important. And how to make this global shift and make people more healthier and aware about their mind body, and learn and these important techniques regarding diet, lifestyle, right? So again, everything comes back to the lifestyle, like dinacharya, rutucharya, because that helps for the prevention. So this was a wonderful conference. Thank you, everybody, for all of your beautiful inputs as well as your presentations. So Angelica, Mariana, Dr. Pierre, as well as Dr. Ujwala, you did absolutely awesome, wonderful presentations. And I'm very thankful and very grateful to the organizers. So the principal, Dr. Danga, as well as Dr. Marda, Dr. Bauni, thank you so much for organizing this beautiful event, and it needs to happen more and more.
Yes,
Thank
thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your nice presentation and various information about the Ayurveda in your state. So the need of further adaptation by the government from your side. So it was very excellent experience of all participants. Even the feedback also I got that excellent presentation by all the speakers. I really would like to express my deep gratitude, and they have given the very feedback for all the participants as well as the chairpersons. So I really thank you. I request our secretary, ma'am. Actually, she is present here for this international conference. Tarini, ma'am, I think you are there. I would like to request you. आप अगर कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे मैडम तो आप अनम्यूट करिए अपना माइक, या तो आपका पैनलिस्ट रिक्वेस्ट एक्सेप्ट कीजिए। आप बोल सकते हैं मैम इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के बारे में। हमारे चेयरपर्सन डॉक्टर आसारी मैम, डॉक्टर उज्ज्वला मैम यहाँ पे है प्रेजेंट, और वो इंडिया से ही है तो हिंदी भी अच्छे से समझ सकते हैं, कोई बात नहीं। तो हमको इंडियन टच भी थोड़ा मिला है। तारिणी मैम, आप कुछ बात करेंगे? अनम्यूट करिए मैम। हेलो, सेक्रेटरी ऑफ जुपिटर आयुर्वेद मेडिकल कॉलेज, मैम आर यू देयर? मैम अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को, और आप अगर कुछ कहना चाहेंगे 2 शब्द इस पे तो आप बोल सकते हैं।
हाँ सर।
यस मैम, आप ये इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के बारे में 2 शब्द बोलिए। आप यहाँ पे डॉक्टर आसारी मैम यूनाइटेड स्टेट अमेरिका से ज्वाइन है, और डॉक्टर उज्ज्वला मैम लंदन से ज्वाइन है, और बाकी पार्टिसिपेंट भी है। अगर आपको 2 शब्द कुछ कहना चाहेंगे तो आप कह सकते हैं।
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा, वंडरफुल सर, बहुत अच्छा हुआ है। मैंने स्टार्टिंग से देखा है,
जी मैम।
सभी ने बहुत अच्छा किया है।
ओके ओके ओके, थैंक यू मैम। डॉक्टर आसारी मैम अमेरिका से ज्वाइन है मैम अभी, और
हाँ,
डॉक्टर उज्ज्वला मैम लंदन से ज्वाइन है। उन्होंने आयुर्वेदा का लाइफस्टाइल के बारे में बोला है, और डॉक्टर आसारी मैम ने जो आयुर्वेद का अमेरिका में जो चलता है यूएसए में, उसके बारे में वहाँ पे इंश्योरेंस कवरेज वगैरह कैसा है, और अभी बाकी हमारे फैकल्टी और काफी सारे पार्टिसिपेंट यहाँ जुड़े हैं। तो आपने हमको ये परमिशन दिया ये ऑर्गेनाइज करने की, इसलिए आप मैं बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ मैम। और हमारे सारे गेस्ट को आपकी ओर से और मेरे कॉलेज की ओर से भी आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ कि दे हैव गिवन देयर टाइम to deliver their expert session for this international conference on globalization of Ayurveda. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to request Shiva Siddiqui, ma'am, for to express the vote of thanks on behalf of Jupiter Ayurved Medical College, Nagpur. Dr. Shiva, yes.
Yes. Namaste everyone. I am Dr. Shiba Siddiqui, Assistant Professor in Sanskrit Sahita Siddhant Department at Jupiter Ayurved Medical College, Nagpur. Respected dignitaries, distinguished speakers, and dear participants, as we come to the close of this remarkable international conference on the globalization of Ayurveda, it is my privilege and heartfelt duty to extend a warm vote of thanks on behalf of Jupiter Ayurved Medical College and Tarini Ayurved Hospital, Nagpur, and our collaborators ARCA, that is Ayurveda Research and Career Academy. First and foremost, I bow in gratitude to the Almighty for the smooth and successful completion of this two-day international academic gathering. I sincerely thank all of our eminent speakers and scholars from India and abroad who shared their profound knowledge and research insights and practical experiences. Dr. Ghanashyam Marda sir, Dr. Pierre, Angelica, Mariana, Dr. Ujwala Luthia ma'am, Dr. Asavari, Manvikar ma'am. Your contributions have truly enriched the purpose of this conference and have opened now horizons for Ayurveda at a global level. My deep appreciation goes to our management secretary, Srimati Tarini Nikhare ma'am, Mr. Ajay Jaiswal sir, and well-wisher whose presence and encouraging words inspired us and added immense value to this event. A heartfelt thank you to all our delegates and participants who joined us with enthusiasm, curiosity, and commitment. Your active engagement, thoughtful questions, and passion for Ayurveda gave life to this conference. I also extend gratitude to our organizing committee, faculty members, technical team, along with Dr. Chetan, Dr. Raukhande ma'am, Dr. V.C. Bhavne for their support in organizing this conference, who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that every detail was managed seamlessly both on site and online. Your dedication and teamwork are truly commendable. As a special note of thanks to our collaborators, ARCA, Ayurveda Research and Career Academy, and all our supporting institutions and well wisher who stood with us in making this conference possible. Dear friends, as we conclude, let us carry forward the key message of this conference that Ayurveda is not only India's heritage but a global treasure, a path to holistic health and sustainable well being for all. With collective effort, we can take this timeless science to greater heights, transcending borders and benefiting humanity. With these words, I once again thank each and every one of you for valuable presence and participation. We look forward to meeting you all again our future academic endeavors. Dhanyavad, thank you and namaskar.
Thank you, Shiva ma'am, for expressing vote of thanks on behalf of our college. I request all the participants kindly fill their form for certificate. We will send the certificate by today itself for the delegate, and we also will able to send the certificate for the paper presentation and poster which was conducted yesterday. And we will also send the certificate for guest person by within a short period of time. So thank you once again all for joining this wonderful session on the International Conference on Globalization of Ayurveda. Hope our effort will make this impact and for on occasion of upcoming Ayurveda Day on 23 September 2025. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Bye bye. Thank you all.